This is the D6 generation with your hosts Craig Gallant,
little thing I like to call a joke,
Russ Wakeland. I'd put the little white handkerchief on my head and go, "Oh, my brain hurts!" And Raef, Hollywood Granger.
HD is in the house.
With contributions from our lovely wives.
He cheated, cheater, Russ.
You guys have to know the rules before you play.
And our loyal listeners.
Drago, we made you out of steel.
Welcome to another edition of Rapid Fire, the roundtable discussion of all things gaming, coming at you with the speed of a Buick M18 Hellcat stalking a tiger over open roads. Tonight's edition is brought to you by Eric in Washington, D.C., who would like to give a shout-out to Chris, Andrew, Merrill, Neil, and all the rest of the gang in Pittsburgh. Apparently, he can hardly wait for the next Basement Con.
Ooh.
I'm Geekly McNerdigan, your host. Today, as always, our panelists are Russ, been there, done that, Wakeland, and Raef, been where, done what, Granger. Joining us as a special guest today is Aaron, soaked and stored in vinegar Dill, lead designer for Gale Force 9 LLC. Let's begin. Issue number 1. Libel is the communication of a statement through print or other non-spoken media that makes a false claim expressly stated or implied to be factual that may give an individual, business, product, group, government, or nation a negative image. Given the sheer number of troll-like yahoos on your average gaming forum, libel is probably committed hundreds of times a day without ever being prosecuted. Question. If you could commit a crime hundreds of times a day without being prosecuted, what would it be? Raef, ice on ice is darkly nice.
Robbing a bank.
Russ, money is honey, be it cloudy as honey.
I think I just hack into various organizations.
Aaron, shoving IP sounds good to me.
Insider trading.
Wrong! Clearly you're all unaware of the New Hampshire law. It is illegal for a man to relieve himself on Sunday while looking up. You probably break that law several times every day.
Hundreds of times a day.
Hundreds of times. Good point.
You drink a lot of water. You break it. You all know it. And I will, however, be notifying the authorities after the show. Issue number 2. For years now, there's been a growing tendency in industrial manufacturing to use laser beams to cut materials rather than mechanical blades or other cutting tools. With the use of this machinery, the manufacturer can maintain a more consistent cut with less maintenance required by the machinery along a broader array of materials. Wood, for instance, is difficult to shape with traditional blades off the grain, but ideal for shaping with a laser beam. Question. What would you like to try to shape with a laser beam? Russ, a figure that paints itself would help myself.
I just want to see what it's like to cut Play-Doh with a laser.
Raef, a wooden gavel would save me travel.
Battle foam in the shape of Marilyn Monroe.
Aaron, my mech's a wreck, I'll take a check.
Both of which are easily doable using Gale Force 9's high-quality lasers.
That's a classic.
Alrighty, you could make anything.
Bologna also works well.
I really can't say that's wrong. However, you are clearly forgetting that in the movies they do this all the time. You could cut currency plates and print your own money for just the cost of the ink and paper. How do you go wrong with that? Issue number 3. One of the primary areas of contention between historical gamers and fantasy or sci-fi gamers is the imposition of reality upon the tabletop battlefield. Where the latter have no trouble moving dragons and hover tanks around the board, breathing fire, casting spells, and shooting laser beams into the foe, your average historical gamer will argue until he's blue in the face if your units from Colonel Devon's brigade of the 66th New York are wearing the wrong colored buttons. Question. What is the most important element of a war game model to get accurate in any genre of game? Russ, I'm torn. The uniform's the norm.
Appropriate weapon selection.
Aaron, it's all about the clan, man. Are you a whiner or a signer?
I just feel like it's really frustrating playing my Imperial Guard. The laser should have unlimited range. I mean, laser beams are focus energy. They shouldn't be affected by range at all.
All right.
He's got lasers, isn't he?
I'm a doxy for the proxy doxy.
Dragon scales.
All right. Interestingly enough, we have a winner. Russ! Indeed. If you're staring down the barrel of a grot blaster, you don't want it to suddenly turn out to be a las cannon. Likewise, an M1 becoming an M60. Or how about slings becoming crossbows? Whizzywig or not, boys, it's hard to make your tactical decisions when you don't know what the other guy is pointing at you. Issue number 4. Try for this one.
Uh-oh.
The term accessory is most often used out of court to refer to an item that supplements one's standard equipment or package. With women, we're talking about purses, jewelry, gloves, etc. When you're talking about gamers, you most probably mean an entire array of items that make your gaming experience more interesting and enjoyable. Whether you're referring to a dice tower, templates, or counters, we gamers sure do love our accessories almost as much as the wives we will never truly understand. Question. What one accessory could you not do without in your regular gaming regimen? Rafe, you gotta be joking. It's gotta be a token.
It's a European carry-all.
What?
It's a Seinfeld reference.
Aaron, waiting for the gong. I'll smile and play along.
Super glue, hands down. I'm total Butterfingers with my models.
Russ, my eyes would smolder for a themed cup holder.
Dice that are color-coordinated with my army.
Wrong and easy. It hasn't been that long, boys, and it's only $10,000 away. The Sultan Gaming Table. Come on. That's it for now. Thanks for listening, and good night.
You're listening to the D6 generation. We just love playing around.
Hello, and welcome to episode 24 of the D6 generation. I'm Russ Wakeland.
I'm Craig Gallant. Sorry, I'm Jack Bauer.
Nice.
The following takes place between 8 p.m. and hopefully not past 11 p.m. And I'm Raef Hollywood Granger.
Right. We've got some great stuff on the show today, so we're going to jump right into some stuff. We have to thank our
Hey, Russ.
advertisers.
Hey, Russ.
Yes. Right.
What am I doing right now?
You're sitting in the room with us.
That's right. I'm in the house.
HD is live.
Scary.
It is scary. So you'll have 100% more HD today than
I
usual.
feel like he could jump on us at
Right, in
any
fact,
moment. Him
guess-
and his bobblehead.
Guess what else?
What else?
I've already eaten, so I don't need any pizza or anything right now.
Right. And we have
Could use a drink, though.
Okay. Well, we'll work on that.
Okay.
We'd like to thank our advertisers first of all this episode. We want to thank Myriad Games.
Myriad Games.
I want to thank them for supporting the D6 generation on behalf.
So many games, so little time.
And they support us on behalf of friendly, local, professional gaming stores everywhere. We'll appreciate that.
And Battle Foam.
That's right.
You paint your army, and they'll protect it.
I love that stuff.
Battlefoam.com. They're awesome. And we got a new advertiser this week.
Welcome.
Rogue Market.
RogueMarket.com.
And, yeah, Rogue Market provides community and gaming trading abilities, so check them out.
Trading forum.
That's right.
That's
Check them
cool.
out. Your chance.
Good
Get
name.
rid of your old stuff. Get cash. Buy new stuff.
Right.
From
Exactly.
Myriad Games.
Or your friendly professional gaming store. And we want to give a shout out to our sponsors. So
You
how do our sponsors work, Craig?
Our sponsors, it's a unique thing that we've put together here where you get a chance to be a part of the D6 generation. Go to our website, www.thed6generation.com, and you can click on the little link that'll bring you to our eBay auctions. Or, Russ?
Oh, well, it's under a heading that says the D6 generation sponsor a spot.
There you go.
You can search eBay.
Search eBay
for the D6 generation.
And what you're going to do is you're going to be bidding on a little shout out in character by any of the number of our little segments throughout the show.
Right.
And there's one best one to be on, and it's not the
Clearly, you're
wives.
talking rapid fire.
And it's not the wives.
No, it's rapid fire.
You know what I'm glad about?
What's that?
That Russ didn't ask me, because I had no idea how to answer that question.
We'll see then.
There you go.
Then we were right. We needed to revisit that.
So that's one way you can help the show.
You can.
Another way you can help the show is to donate. And we want to thank Adam
for once again
another nice donation. And this time, Adam got a special bonus deal thanks to our relationship with Myriad.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about that.
And so Adam donated enough so Myriad Game is sending him $10 million.
There you go.
So Adam's going to be hooked up with that. And so if you want to get a little bit of, thank you from us and Myriad Games.
Absolutely.
Just donate to the D6 generation and they'll take care of you.
And go to our website for the details.
Right.
What's that website, Rafe?
www.thed6generation.com.
Indeed.
Right. But what I like to say at this point is, enjoy our show. It's there for everybody. If you want to give. But if not, sit back, relax, and enjoy the ride.
Okay.
Keep your hands and arms inside the car at all times.
Yes.
He's a child of the 60s,
So,
is our Rafe.
if you want to help us out, you can sponsor a spot, you can donate, or you can leave a review on iTunes. And so, Craig, in the style of Sean Connery,
Right.
let us know who some of our U.S. donors were, our U.S. iTunes reviewers were.
Well, from the U.S., we've got Little Twee. I'm not going to say that. Pure
Genius.
Scott McKeegan, fantastic. P90X937. I think that's a Necron. I think I just lost the accent.
He did.
Wife and I love it. Ooh, the wife and I.
Yeah, there you go.
Arlick loves the sound quality. Jack-o'-lantern, best of the WRN.
Yeah, he's got that right.
You better believe it. Kentucky Gamer loves our reviews, not always the commentary. He's talking about you, Raef.
No, actually, he didn't like some of our Twilight and the and our Merry Christmas stuff.
So it's me
He doesn't like the editorials, but he still gives us a 4-star review.
Well, there you go.
But that's why it's an editorial.
Okay. Is that Corey88?
Corey85.
Corey85. D6, something great to paint to.
Yep.
Andy L., last podcast standing.
Yeah, Andy's story was that he used to listen when he first got his iPod. He subscribed to every podcast he could find, and it just got taken too much time, but he still listens to D6 Generations.
Mortal Kombat!
Yeah.
We've got staying power.
We do, apparently. Well, we must for 4-hour shows.
JB5 coming to TempleCon from South Carolina because, you're going to have to look for us. We'll talk about that in a minute.
So JB5, keep an eye out for us at the TempleCon.
Connor typed, awesome. I believe that's my cousin, but how you doing, Connor?
And Raef, how about some of the folks in the UK?
He doesn't have to do a theme?
Oh, yes, in the style of Hollywood Granger.
In the style of being asleep, because I hate this part.
Yes,
Right,
yes. Give some love.
Well, listen, Demonkin, thanks for not being lazy like me and getting off your chair. And I do like the fact that you love the Hollywood Minute, so I'm glad that Russ chose me for this.
Now, I have to point this out, though. Demonkin, he signed his review from Dublin, Ireland. Now, I know we just mentioned the UK. Do not write us letters, because his review was in UK on iTunes. Please send any email to Mr. S. Jobs.
Oh, I like that, Russ. Right. You're right.
That was not our fault. We do not control that. Also, who else we got there, Raef?
Von Quixote. That's a nice little play on words.
My name's
and
Von
then we have
Quixote, the
Forza, who
who
says that we're really good podcasts. He must be referring to me.
Of course.
Then
I'm hated today.
And Mephiston AG. That makes me think of the attorney, like the attorney general is Mephisto.
Could be.
Cariad, one of
Carolad.
Well, I am reading from a distance.
You are.
One of the best podcasts I know. Yeah, and then when Russ moves the scroll like that, I get a little...
Please read the third line from the top.
I get a little seasick.
Look for the Z's.
Right.
See which way the E's facing.
I'm done.
All right, and we got a review from New Zealand.
Yay!
So the Kiwis down there. Garskow, he said we were reasonably funny, which is all right.
And we're reasonably happy to have you as a listener.
Now, we did actually get a review from Ireland also, Craig. Who is that?
That would be Warlike Rogue. We'll listen as long as we produce shows.
Now, wait a minute. I thought you just said that our fellow there that...
Damon Kin left his review in the UK section. But
okay.
Ireland.
So there is an Ireland section.
There's also an Ireland section, which nobody seems to leave many reviews in, so I don't know if the Ireland section just is not as well...
Maybe harder to get to.
I don't know.
Something.
I don't know how it works.
I'm with you.
Maybe it's smaller, so everybody just goes to the UK.
We all know Ireland's not part of the UK, but they're darn close to it.
We totally do.
So we get that.
It's one really seasick ferry ride. That's all I know.
All right.
Away.
Now, so thank you very much to our iTunes folks, and to say thank you back to our listeners. We like to have as many contests as humanly possible.
As you can wedge into a mega episode of a podcast.
That's not true.
What?
Because I had one, and you guys said it stunk.
No, we didn't say it stunk. We said it didn't fit with our overall demographic.
It's not our idiom.
In your own idiom, sir.
Okay, so first of all, we have to announce a winner.
Yes, this one's been going on for what seems like forever.
It is. So this is paintedfigs.com prize, and we were giving away, what is paintedfigs.com giving away? Raef.
A whole bunch of knobs, like you guys.
Sort of. They're orcs.
From Blackreach.
Yes.
Assault on Blackreach.
The Assault on Blackreach box, all the orcs in there.
And they will be painted to the specification of...
Robin Lowe.
Ooh, we have a winner?
So Robin Lowe's the winner. So Robin, if you're out there, send your email to Painted Figs, and they will hook you up. Tell them what you want painted.
Wow.
Hook you up. Now, Painted Figs was nice enough to give us another contest.
Holy crud.
Gotcha.
And Craig, what's that one going to be?
Oh, that one's my personal favorite.
Yeah.
Okay, the winner of this contest is going to get the Uncharted Seas starter fleet of their choice.
Wow.
Painted in the colors
Right.
of their choice.
Holy crud.
And don't forget Uncharted Seas. That's, the starter set. What's the starter set go for?
Starter set goes from anywhere from 30 to 52.
There
right
you
now.
go, right there. Plus, it's going to be painted, and that's like 10 ships.
Yep. It is 10 ships. It's not like 10 ships.
It is.
Wow. I want to
It's
go
10
there.
ships.
Yeah.
I want to meet our friends down there in Painted Figs.
So anyway, now
I'll be
also
over there.
we have another
I don't know
contest
where
we
it
started last episode, right?
Yes, yep.
Craig? And I've dubbed it Gaming in the Wild. So, Raef, do you remember how this one works?
I have no idea.
No idea.
Jesus.
I'm glad he listens to the show.
It does. Do you listen to the show?
Not really.
Nice.
I'm just here for the food.
That's right. We don't serve enough, apparently. He's always complaining about eating more. So anyway, so this one, Craig, why don't you describe how this is going to
Okay,
work?
we need you to go out and play a game in a strange, non-game friendly environment, such as the wilderness.
The Wild.
The
How about
wild.
a laundromat?
A laundromat?
That's fine.
Yeah,
Anywhere-
I think
anywhere unusual.
would be fine.
All right.
I mean, I played in a train station on the floor in Paris. I think
believe,
that'd be okay.
was it you and I that played 40K on the steps of the Baltimore Civic Center? Was that Steve Mooney?
No.
that was Steve Mooney.
Steve Mooney. So but that would have been a great spot.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, waiting for Games Day to start. when
Okay,
you
so you take a picture of yourself, and it doesn't have to be a miniature game. Could be a board game. In fact, that would be more in theme. Okay?
Right.
But any kind of game in an environment which is not considered normally a gaming environment.
Right.
You take the picture, you send it to us, and the winner of this contest gets what, Russ?
50 myriad bucks.
That's $50
in
to be
myriad money.
spent at myriadgames.com.
Right.
So no, you Weisenheimers, you don't have to come to New Hampshire.
Right. They have a website.
There's a website.
But Myriad's always proud to let you know that they'd be happy if you just shopped at your friendly professional gaming store.
That's
Although
right.
you can't shop there right now with Myriad money.
No, with a Myriad Money part, you'd have to. Right. But it's still a neat contest, and we
is.
thank Dan for
It's
letting
a
us do
great
that.
contest.
It's awesome. Now, we have a new contest.
We have the big contest.
Because we're just going to, we want to thank you guys for spending all this time with us.
We do.
So, and it's, you know what, we really want to thank you because it's been almost, how long has it been? We have been doing this show?
It's almost, I don't know, almost what, Raef?
Feels like freaking 6 centuries with you two.
It's actually coming up.
We're coming up on our 6th century anniversary.
Right. Our 1-year anniversary. And we're very excited.
I am very excited. I really thought I would have bailed out on you guys by now.
You bailed out too.
And I think
What the hell's keeping me in?
I think the reason that people are still here, that Raef's still here, is because of our listeners.
I think you're right, actually.
That we have a strong listener base, that you guys keep asking for more.
Yeah.
And you send us emails telling us how much you enjoy the show.
Yep.
Keeps us full of energy and wanting to do more.
That's very true.
And I think that's part of it. If we had like 3
And the
listeners,
emails.
Yeah. I
The
think so,
emails are
yeah.
great.
You
The feedback.
cannot underestimate the importance of those emails, the messages on our website, and the forum. And where's the forum, Raef?
www.the d6generation.com.
Well, then you got to press the link.
Yeah, close.
There is a link
There's a
to
link.
the forum
Right.
at
Actually, you know what?
www.the
I think I'll make that a
d6generation.com.
bigger link because people
Yeah,
seem
you
to have trouble
might wanna do
finding it.
that.
But our actual forum, we mentioned it's at the end of every episode too.
Yeah.
It's on the top of the DACA discussions forum at the DACA.com
Yeah.
website.
See, I just go there.
Yakface has been kind enough to
give us a
Yep.
sticky post at
It's
the
a
top of that
sticky-
section.
It's a sticky right there at the discussion page.
Yes.
And it's always very active.
It is,
It's
and it's
always
easier.
very-
It's much easier in a forum to discuss that kind of stuff than trying to do it in the blog section.
Exactly.
You're certainly welcome to. We like that feedback there too.
Yep.
But we had a comment. One guy was saying that it's a little tricky to follow the blog with multiple posts.
Right, yep.
Much easier in the forum.
Yeah, if you've got a discussion you'd like to get it, and we check it on a fairly regular basis.
We check both
I
those
don't.
things all the time, except for Hollywood.
Except for
Right.
Hollywood.
But we're lucky just to get them in the room to record.
Right,
To be
that's
honest with you,
very
folks,
true.
it's really random.
We already mentioned that.
Right.
We're,
So this new contest we wanted
New
to have to
contest.
thank our listeners. We scored some cool loot at Gen Con that
Oh,
we've
yeah.
been sitting on
Yeah.
for a very special occasion.
My
we
back
like
is
that-
still sore from it, too.
It's like that
You-
bottle of wine. You're not going
he
to open
almost
till
got
the first one.
arrested bringing this stuff home.
Oh, yeah. Remember the big shells?
Yeah.
Yeah. So this was. What did you guys score?
We scored one of each of the War Machine terrain from Gale Force 9. And in this show, we are going to be talking to Aaron Dill from Gale Force 9.
Right.
And we thought this all ties in together. The synergy is just amazing.
It is. Yeah, coming out the annual episode, it's just really exciting.
So there you go. So what we're going to do.
If you haven't seen this stuff.
Yeah, I was about to say, tell them what it is.
This is pre-painted, pre-flocked, everything terrain, and
I don't think there's any flock.
There might be some. There's some snow and stuff.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it is. I don't know what they did. It's gorgeous.
It's gorgeous, and
awesome.
It's big, and it would fit for any 28mm
any game. But to give you an idea, like the Cador piece is a giant field cannon that's on like gears that looks like it can rotate. It doesn't, but it looks like it can rotate with little support artillery pieces that move around.
These are big resin pieces.
And big shells.
And it comes with huge shells that are all separate, so you can stack them up or make more barricades and stuff, and that's what Hollywood almost got arrested for.
They did pictures up on the site.
They did. They swabbed it with that photo, that bomb sniffing paper.
Yeah. Oh yeah, they thought it was a real bomb. That's right.
They thought it was an actual shell of a gun that must have
stuck
a
to a
huge barrel.
And there's a Menoth piece which could make a temple in any game. It's got a nice big cross,
big
in there.
Menofix.
And then there's some awesome.
The Signar piece is a huge lightning research center.
Several pieces,
like
and there's actually been rules for these pieces of terrain published in No Quarter. Give you in-game effects, but you can use it for any game system. It's just beautiful. It'd make any table look great.
And the Crix one is just a huge ruin with a really gross, disgusting-looking generator thing in it, and it's all pre-painted. Very high quality.
Plop it on your table, and it would look like something like Craig made. It's great.
Oh, well, thank you.
So now, what would we what would have to do to win this stuff?
Well, we've been doing this for almost a year, and that means and our shows, if you haven't noticed, are somewhat lengthy, which means all of us together, all of you within the range of my voice, including Nicole in the next room. She says hi, by the way. We have all together logged many hours of gaming talk. And we've had some good moments. We've had some bad moments. We've had some controversial moments. But we've had some good moments,
too. I set the song coming on.
I'm not going to sing. I'm certainly not in the mood to sing.
I think Nicole's
He's going to tell. He's going to tell.
He is going to sing. I knew it.
Anyway, what we want you to do is we want you to give us your best joke or moment or segment, something that you can remember that sticks in your head from the past year, and we want you to send it to us, and we will be judging what we think amongst those are the 4 best ones.
Right. And your reason why.
And
you have to give us the segment, the reason why, and you can either submit it
You can either email us, and you need to get it to us quickly, because if more than one person chooses the same thing, and if you think about it, that's going to happen.
Right.
Because we're not that funny. So, okay? So, the first person who sends it to us is going to be the person who gets credit for that one.
Right. So if you pick, like, let's say, Let's say this is a lame one. Let's say you pick the very first episode because this is when you guys started.
Okay, there you go.
You pick that one. Then if you're the first person to pick that for that that one, then you got your dibs on
that one.
That one. If that's the best reason anybody can come up with for any other segment.
And each of you can only pick one, too.
Right, one each.
Okay. Although we should let them know. We'll try to let you know if somebody's already picked the one that you picked.
We'll reinforce we got your stuff.
Yeah.
But we can get it either by email or preferably.
We would like to hear your voices again.
Right. We had so much fun with the Monster Apocalypse thing that we'd love to hear you guys again. Give us some creative sound bites.
Yep.
Why you like the particular segment of the show. And so if you submit it for a voicemail and go to our website for our voicemail information, you can either call our number or you can go through Skype.
Send us an MP3 also.
Or you can email us MP3. So audio is preferred, but you can grab it via email also.
Yep.
And I want to reinforce, we're not asking for your own favorite joke. Like, I got a joke, by the way. You want to hear about it?
No.
Oh. We're asking, it's a good joke.
No.
Oh. We're asking for the favorite joke or funny moment of the show.
Right.
Does it be funny or can it be just any moment?
No, it can be any moment.
Any moment of the show.
Anything.
Yeah. And why? We need to why.
Yep. And if you give us the episode that it was in, we might even be able to find it so that we can play it when we play all of these things.
Right.
And kind of
so let us know.
Yes. Moment.
So that's the contest for the annual year, and that's of course due in the actual annual episode, which would be episode
2 episodes from now.
Yeah, I think so. 26. We'll call it 26. 25's next.
Yep.
And technically 25 would probably be the annual, But we'll be 26.
Right.
So we get everything. Give everybody 2 episodes to get it
So
in.
you've got 2 weeks, but you've
4
got
weeks.
4 weeks. But
Right.
remember that it's first come, first served. So if as you hear us talking about this right now, an idea is popping into your head, you've got to put the iPod on hold, turn the car around. You're going to be late for work, so it's going to be okay anyway. Go straight back to your house, log back onto that computer, and send us an email or Skype.
Lame-o. Get on your
Grab
car
your cell
phone and call. Russ, what's that number of ours?
Go to the website and look it up.
See, it's not just me.
Russ flat-footed.
But the thing about so have the number on.
Well, they've got their BlackBerry.
Right.
Go to your BlackBerry while you're driving. Be careful. You might want to pull over.
Right.
Okay. Get to our website, www.the d6generation.com. Okay. Get our phone number. Call it on your BlackBerry. Those are amazing little things there.
You know, I've been meaning to tell you this for a long time, Craig.
What?
2 things.
Uh-oh.
One is, you're pretty buff. Look at those biceps of yours.
Oh, God.
Number 2 is, do you know the South Park?
Which
the episodes? Sometimes when you say okay, you sound like the guidance counselor.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah,
I like that.
I don't hear that at all.
Well, tell you what, guys, we got to move along here. We're still in contest. One last thing about
We're in a
contest.
rush, okay?
Warn, the Warn game. What does Warn stand for, Raef?
Wargamers Radio Network.
Who's in the Wargamer Radio Network, Raef?
World's End Radio, Podhammer, the D6 Generation, and 40K Radio.
There you go.
40K Radio.
We've been talking about the Warn contest, which was to listen to all the podcasts in the network and look for the secret words. And email them in. And we got them all in, and last night, Jeff from Podhammer picked the winners. Now, originally...
do you know how this is working?
I do now.
Okay.
I've been informed.
Because we're confused.
Because, we thought there's a prize pool, and the prize pool is what it said on the Warn website. By the way, a little note, if you go to the Wargamer Radio website right now, you'll see a website about horses.
Oh.
There was a little IP error by our host. Jeff is correcting that now, and it should be better probably by the time you hear this podcast. But a little weirdness going on there.
All right.
But it's not gone. It's just a weird thing. But when you do get to the site, you'll notice it talked about the prize pool, and Jeff decided, and everybody else decided that we probably best to spread the wealth. So he's picked 3 winners. Okay. So the first winner. Anyway,
we decided.
Well, Jeff decided actually.
I was going to say I don't remember.
Well, it's okay. He's
voting. I didn't get a ballot card.
I think it's an Australian thing. So anyway, so Mitch Cummins, he's going to win Mutant Chronicles from us, and then Ed Horn is going to win some Armorcast goodies, and Robbie Laney is going to win the autographed books from the Black Library.
Okay. Well, I hope each one of those was kind of hoping for that part of the prize.
I guess so. Now, I think there's some other goodies that Jeff wants to throw in there for that stuff, so he's going to clear all that up. But, that's basically the plan. So that contest is over. Congratulations. Thanks for winning. Yeah. I looked at some of the emails. There was like over 80 entries.
Wow.
A lot of people put some time in.
Yeah.
And that's a lot of listening to a lot of shows to get all that. So good job on those.
What were the answers? Does anybody know?
I got no idea.
Innovative Mechanic.
Was ours.
Panzer.
Yep.
Beer. No, it wasn't. That was a joke. That was a joke. I just listened to it. I can't remember. I can't remember the World's End Radio.
I think Jeff will post them on the website. Check out Wargamer Radio.
40K Radio.
Yeah.
I can't remember either of them.
All right.
I don't know.
Well, that's all well good, but now...
Babyface was World's End Radio.
Huh. But you know what it's time for now?
What's it time for?
What's it time for, Craig?
Achievements in gaming.
All right. And whose achievements brought to us by this week? Raef.
Boy, that's a tough one here. All right. Brought to us by John, who'd like to recommend everybody check out Hearsay Miniatures.
Heresy, for the love of God.
Heresy.
What did I say?
Hearsay.
Which is a lawyer term. I think you're trying to say hearsay.
Yeah. Heresy.
Try again.
Hearsay.
Take 2 from the top, Raef. Go.
Recommends that everybody visits Hearsay Miniatures and checks out their extensive range of high-quality miniatures, from dragons to demons. Visit Andy at www.russreaditforme.com.
HeresyMiniatures.com.
Now listen.
Heresy. That's John Brimstone, by the way, everybody's friend from Warseer.
Brimstone.
Now, I got to say about that, when I first saw that, I was like, another veiled advertisement, but I clicked the link. Dude, that's some cool miniatures on
not
there.
only that, but John has no affiliation.
No, I know.
I just recommend it.
I know. I know.
Check it out.
And that's something you guys can do. If there's a little company that's trying to start out and you want to give them a hand.
Shout out's a great way to do
Yeah.
it.
Yep.
Yeah, that was definitely
cool. A few
cool.
bucks, you get a mention. So thank you so much for that shout out there, Brimstone.
Thank you, John.
All right, so let's talk about what we've been doing for
And I'll talk to you about
gaming.
Firestorm Armada on an email later, John.
Okay, well, that's interesting. All right, so Raef, what have you been up to for gaming?
All right, well, I got some interesting news for you guys. I've taken a MMO hiatus.
Achievement for stopping MNOs for a while.
Yeah, I
Take
just
two, they're small.
I felt a little bit out of balance. You know?
Yeah.
They talk about that in yoga a lot.
So, are you coming back to MMOs, or what do you think?
I don't know.
You don't know.
I don't know.
You haven't deleted your accounts or anything, have you?
No, I did delete my. I deleted all the programs off of them and my accounts, but my characters are not deleted.
So it's pretty cold turkey, though.
It was cold turkey about 2 weeks ago.
All right. Wow.
So because of that, I've had a nice little window to play the Call of Duty World at War. I'm in a World War II frame of mind.
I can tell. Well, you've been in World War II lately, huh?
And it's been really fun. Kiefer Sutherland does the voiceover for the Americans, so that's
is that
just
cool?
Oh man, that's cool.
Yep.
And then I played Flames of War. Kiefer Sutherland.
Oh, it's coming together now. It's just tying in. Episode 24.
Put the weapon down! Okay.
Right.
I'm watching it right now. You guys watching 24?
No.
Not right now. I'm recording a podcast. So what's after...
So, Dawn of War 2 beta. Oh, no, wait, that's right.
That's me. What have you been
COD,
doing?
World at War.
Yes.
Okay, I played with the
Call of Duty.
Call of Duty. I played with the historical gang. I got my first historical battle under my belt, which we'll talk about later.
Yeah.
Fire. The rule set is called Fire and Fury,
Yep.
which can be used for a variety of games, but I played Civil War at 15mm scale.
Neat.
And then I played Flames of War with Don, and
Excellent.
he got his retribution against me, so we're now 1-1 for the campaign.
Oh, you beat him once? I didn't think I remembered you.
The first time I beat him.
Nice.
Second
Well
time
done.
he
Well
beat
done.
me. Yep.
And he's playing Germans, and you're playing...
Americans.
What platoon? What kind of army formations you play?
Well, the campaign gives you the
you swap in and out.
the choices.
So it's not
the
always
true
like
choices.
Panzer versus
Correct.
tanks or anything.
Nope.
Okay.
Nope. Yeah. And then I'm playing Company of Heroes on the PC, which I'm having a blast of actually. And then I actually played Epic 40K with Craig,
Yes,
which
nice.
was a lot of fun.
Yeah, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Nice.
So I got some other modeling news, but that's it.
Cool. Well, I've been doing a little PC gaming myself. I started playing the Dawn of War 2 beta.
Beep, beep.
Now, Dawn of War 2 beta, of course, is the preview of the new Dawn of War game coming out. And it is very much, this is sort of just a little, I think it's excellent. Very, very tactical. But here's my advice to people. Some people either loving it, some people are like, it's not Dawn of War 1, kicked up a notch, it sucks. Here's the problem. It is not Dawn of War 1, it is Call of Duty, pretty much not Call of Duty.
Company of
Pretty
Heroes.
much Company of Heroes in the 40K universe.
I like that better.
And Company of Heroes introduced a lot more tactics. You got to use cover. You got to watch your fire arcs. It's a much more tactical game, and it does. But because it's lower model count, it feels much more like you're playing a game of 40K. It's got you're running around with maybe like 4 or 5 or 6 squads and a couple tanks. And I was getting attacked by a wave serpent, and years of 40K training kicked in. So I had my Space Marines. I hadn't evolved them enough yet to build vehicles. So all I had was a few squads. Heavy bolt or devastator squads, and this wave serpent's attacking my thing, and all my bolts are bouncing off. What would I do in 40K? What would you do in 40K in that situation?
I don't know.
Get behind him.
Behind it, yeah.
Sure enough, I got one guy behind him, and all of a sudden a little rear armor hit started floating up, and boom, it blew up. And then I was like, I could only make, what should I do? Create an assault squad, add melta bombs, they attack it, little timers go off, and they detonate, and pieces fly everywhere. Gave the leader a thunderhammer, and I was like vehicle-proof, baby.
That sounds really cool.
So good fun there. I really enjoyed the game, but I would recommend, I'm sure there'll be a really cool tutorial when it's out of beta. But for now, if you're not familiar with Company of Heroes, download the Company of Heroes demo, play the tutorial, then download Dawn of War 2 and play that. And that'll give you everything you need to know how to play Dawn of War 2.
That's interesting.
All right,
When's the game come out?
Next month. Right. Thanks. End of February, Raef. That's your question. So soon. And the demo is now open. The beta was closed unless you owned some stuff. But now as of January 29th, so pretty much by the time you hear this, you can go and anybody can try it out. So just download it. So nothing costs you nothing but a ton of time. Okay, one more. I want to shout out too. Raef and I played Age of Booty.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
With our friend Shebley.
Shebley or
it is.
Shelby?
No, it is. It's Shebley.
It is Shebley. That confused us during the game too.
Yeah.
Shebley's Kiwi from New Zealand.
Kiwi.
And we met him on Xbox Live. And how I got involved with Shebley, Raef and I, it was kind of funny. Raef and I were just online goofing around with Keflings or something.
Yeah, we were, yep.
Shebley saw I was on there. Now, Shebley had sent me a friend request a while ago. And if you send me a friend request and you include in the request that you're a D6G listener, I will accept your friend request. If, however, you just send me a friend request with nothing in it, I will probably delete it without accepting because my gamer tag's all over the internet and I just, want it. But I love to meet D6G listeners. It was great fun playing with someone from New Zealand, and it was kind of funny. It was just kind of fun to hang out with them. And I think you realize, yes, we are as goofy in real life as we are on the show.
I'm a little more restrictive than that, so I apologize ahead of time to everybody who sent me a friend request. I'm strangely shy when it comes to Xbox Live. I don't know why. And I'm afraid that my whole night will be, I'll feel bad if somebody were to text me and I don't respond to them. So I've declined them, but then Shebley, since I got to play with him and I deemed he was cool enough to hang with me.
Wow.
I then accepted
So
it.
apparently,
the seal of approval.
Apparently I have to vet all of Hollywood's friends before he'll even... Nice.
No, it's actually because I'll feel too guilty just ignoring tons of text messages.
I do admit this. I will ignore text messages from friends if I'm in the middle of something. So I'm not being a jerk there. It's just I'm in the middle of something, playing a game with my daughter or something, and I'll ignore text messages. I don't immediately answer them sometimes.
I'm going to jump in here because I have nothing to say about computer gaming. Okay? On emails, if you email us at the D6G and one of us responds and I agree with them, I'm not going to respond and say, me too.
Yeah.
So I'm reading them all, but I'm not going to say me too.
Okay.
And posting me too like some brain dead AOLa. little Weird Al reference there for you. Okay. Moving right Now, whoops, my microphone just attacked me.
That white and nerdy?
Yeah, no, that's not white and nerdy. That's
not
from,
white and nerdy.
No, that's from All About the Pentiums, baby. Okay, another game I've been playing with my girls is Maw, which in the game you'll notice sounds like this. Maw. Because it's about a little guy, a little alien, and his big friend with a growing mouth.
Yep.
First game my 6-year-old daughter has ever solved on her own from beginning to end. She absolutely loved it.
Wow.
She's playing it through for a second time.
Proud daddy.
I am.
Wow.
I've got a little gamer daughter. She's awesome.
You gonna give her achievement for that or what?
I will, but she's already got her. By the way, Rose's Gamer Store, 1,700.
I think that beats mine.
She's gaining on you. You better watch out.
Wow.
So I have no idea what you're talking about.
All right, that's okay.
But she doesn't have a level 69 Death Knight, though.
Anyway.
No, she doesn't.
True.
But here's something you will know about, Craig.
Yeah.
We all three of us, and Dan from Myriad, we played some of Android.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about that.
We did. We sat down at Craig's house.
Game.
Yes. Android came out in December under the cloak of darkness. Just sort of appeared. And we've been jonesing to try it out because it looks like great components, and it's basically...
We've punched the components out twice.
We have. We punched all the components out for Dan once, and then he promptly sold the game out from under us because someone really wanted it. They didn't care if it was open.
And he didn't have another copy.
And they had another copy, so now... But he got more in, so we punched it out again.
That is one buttload of
it is a
tokens.
I would say my initial thoughts on this game are very intriguing. Can't wait to play again, but you need to have you have to devote a large chunk of time to this thing, and it is in no way a game for non-gamers.
No.
Right.
This is for the committed. But I think all three of us were pretty much, this is interesting.
And
very interesting.
You shouldn't have someone like me try to teach it to you.
No, that would
no, it was. It's a very
seriously
deep game, but it's interesting. I think it's worth checking out. I definitely want to check it out again. And I know Dan's joined to play again, but something you want to definitely. It's a gamer's game, but it's really interesting. Also played it quick. I'll go through the rest real quick. Played War Machine against Josh. Good game there. Played some.
Won.
Josh did. I conceded though, but he definitely. I made a good comeback, but he got me.
Okay.
Played some Monster Apocalypse with Dave. We are both in agreement that game is just rock solidly awesome. We have enough friends now who own Monster Apocalypse now and enough stuff that we have a nice little crew, and we've been playing some games. Everybody's got a different faction. Lots and lots of buildings.
Almost every game has every building.
Yeah, that's the key.
Full now.
And now I only picked one faction, so I've been spending my money on getting all the accessories, so I have all the maps now and everything. That's
I like that little nuclear building.
Yeah, the nuclear power plant. That is cool.
It's great if you're a Martian.
I got the radar dish now, and someone else had something else cool.
It's a good game. I don't like it, but it's good.
It is fun. And also, I got a quick game of Galaxy Trucker with a new expansion in there. I got a 5-player game on Tuesday.
Interesting.
And that is great fun. Definitely going to talk more about the expansion later when we have more time. And that's it for me on gaming.
Okay.
Craig, what have you been up to?
I played I played one game of MPOC that was sort of like simplified for my nephew.
Ooh, nice. How do you like it?
How old is he?
He's like 5 or 6.
How did he do? Because
I was wondering if monsters. I mean, very, very simplified.
I just wondered. I was wondering if Lou would like it. That's why.
Well, no, he was totally engaged because I just had him rolling dice, and I was like, "Oh, now you roll 2 of these and 3 of those," and he was like, "Woo!" Okay. You know, and
it was like a Buffy the Vampire Slayer production. Lots of grr, arg.
It was absolutely a mutant. Mutant enemy. Arg, arg. And I can't read my own. Oh, Uncharted Seas with Russ, that didn't go so well.
Oh, well for my side of the table.
Yes, it did.
He beat you again?
Russ took out my new elves on their maiden voyage.
Well, no, I thought they got creamed earlier, though. You were like very.
They did.
You thought they were going to be really bad.
I thought they were going to be challenging
because we were concerned because I was going to play my orcs, but they just changed the orc rules slightly, and I didn't have the new rules. I was like, I didn't want to play. Cheesy.
So he jumped in on what was supposed to be the weaker of the fleets available.
Against
and I played my
Dragon
Dragon Lords, and holy crap, did I get crushed again.
Well, because the elves are so fast, you can just totally reverse flanks your opponent. Even the Dragon Lords, and the elves obey the wind, but the Dragon Lords are like, whatever.
That also, you had huge help because the wind kept moving exactly where you needed it to.
That was very fortuitous, but that's just the elven gods shining upon you.
Very true. Well, clearly somebody was shining upon you. But that was a great fun, and I got crushed.
Still undefeated in that game.
Yeah. Pandemic, I played, finally, I've been wanting to play Pandemic forever.
Yeah,
I finally got a chance to play it twice. I played it with Dan and Sarah 2 Tuesdays ago, and then Dan, Sarah, and Karen before everybody else showed up at our little
How you liking that game?
I like it. I like it a lot. I think it's fun. It's the first game that I've ever been told, oh, this is a quick game, and it's actually a quick game.
Oh, yeah, for a co-op game, too. It's like 45 minutes. It's long.
45
Would I like it?
I think so.
I think you might.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, it's a co-op game. The weird thing about it is there's 5 character types, and it's a 4-player game.
Right.
And so you're always going to be missing one part of the puzzle, so you have to make
Who
up
last
for it.
time was really important.
Right, exactly. Yes. And that's the thing is it depends.
Right.
If you're missing the super important guy, then it's a much more challenging game. So you can sort of tailor the difficulty level to whether you want to
Now,
challenge.
does Karen like it?
Karen likes it a lot.
Oh, nice.
Okay.
She really enjoyed it. And so that was good. Then we played Dominion, which you've played once with.
Yes,
with
this
Dan
was my second Dominion game.
And Karen was playing, and then Karen decided to drop out so she could finish up preparation on the meal and serve everybody. And Russ took over and
lost badly.
And well, whenever I play a game for the first time and the guy who owns the game wins, I'm not surprised. And Dan crushed us all.
Yeah.
But I liked it. Karen liked it, and she said it was like Pillars of the Earth, which is her new favorite currently. She said it was a card version of that.
I have to apologize to Karen on the air because I forgot to bring. I forgot to bring Pillars, and she's like, "Get out of my house!"
She did.
I was like, "Oops."
She actually said, "Get out of my house."
So, Pillars of the Earth, clearly a good gateway game.
Yeah. And Karen doesn't need gateway games anymore.
No, she doesn't.
It is a good game.
Well, I'd say I'm using the term there for I should say mixed company game.
Right.
Great,
it absolutely is.
Great couples game, great mixed company game.
Yeah. And then Epic 40K.
Yeah, cheated for Epic. That's old school. I'll give you 3.
And I actually put together how I've been trying to figure out why all of a sudden it was stuck in my head.
Yeah.
And I figured it out.
Well, oh yeah, why?
My bank is in Nashua, which is a town approximately a half hour from where I live. Okay. So when I have to actually do any hands-on banking, I have to go a half hour away. And when I go a half hour away,
hand-to-hand banking, I like that.
Hand-to-hand.
Do you space wolf?
Is that called?
I am. I'm a space wolf. I get an extra. I'm a blood claw.
I was going to say blood claw. Okay.
I get 2 extra attacks when I do hand-to-hand banking. And
do you know at Bank of America they're fingerprinting people now? Have you heard about this?
No, but anyway, this is my moment in the sun. The elven gods notwithstanding.
I smell a song
not
again.
Another song. Okay, so when I go all the way down there to do the banking, I'm like, well, crap, I'm in Nashua. I'm a half hour away from home. Well, there happens to be a comic store nearby my bank, which also carries some game stuff. So I go all the way down there. I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to go to the comic store. They actually had Epic stuff. Not a lot, but they had a Chaos Warhost and an Orc Warhost and a Gargant and a couple other blisters. And I started looking at it, and I was like, and I'm also, I'm down there, I'm like, I gotta spend some money on something. And you know what I ended up freaking buying was a stupid booster for
Magic
Apocalypse.
Oh.
And
why is that stupid?
Because boosters are ridiculous. I've spent $30, I mean, mainly at Myriad Games, which is nothing against Myriad Games, but literally didn't get a single thing I wanted. And it's, Eric Gable's a great guy, and the collectible thing for, I guess, like people like Raef says, it's like Christmas. It's not like Christmas for me.
Well, notice he's not playing it either, Mr.
Yeah, I don't play it.
Collectible games, Raef.
Yeah, there you go. But anyway, so what I should have gotten, I should have actually ponied up $7 extra and gotten a little Epic thing. Yeah. And so it started jonesing me, and that's the very first Games Workshop game I ever played, and I started playing it in 1989.
Yes.
And I still somehow...
But the rules are different today.
The rules are different.
Yes.
But the models have stayed the same.
Some of them have.
Some of them have. In fact, if you look at the Assault Marines, even on the new sprue, they're still beaky. They're the exact same models. So I dug it out. I got it all together. I started digging around on the forums, and with the help of some of the guys on the forum, I was able to find some stuff that is now gone from the bullet points.
Here.
Yes. Okay, there we go.
Sorry.
It's been moved around a little bit. I guess you'd call that housekeeping.
Housekeeping elves came in and arranged the bullets.
Oh, this would be the Russ. I've decided to change where I do your little.
Well, no, this is the gaming
thing.
Yeah, but we're in the
okay, right. Okay. Anyway, I
put the curtain back up, please.
Paul, who is Paul, who is the Ozbat on the forums, has been really helping me out. He actually responded to a post that I did off of our little forum page.
Yeah.
About looking for rules for Epic, and he linked me up with the tacticalwargames.net. And they actually have a fan-edited copy of the Epic Armageddon rules book, which is almost exactly the same, but it's been clarified a little bit, and it's restructured, so you can find.
Does it have pretty pictures?
It has all the same pretty pictures.
Is it full color?
It is, yes.
Do you have a color printer? Oh, dear God, that's how you know it's not a GW production.
Well, it's not full color, no. But anyway, and it's awesome, and I put it together, and I've been jonesing, and so I didn't know if I could count on Raef. Raef said he was interested, so I set up Andy also, and when I showed up, Raef surprised the heck out of me, because Raef was like, "Oh, you got the stuff? I'm all jonesing for that."
I waited for you.
I was like, "Oh, that's awesome." So I had one of my.
I've changed.
I
warn you when I'm going to be random.
That's true. Russ doesn't agree, but anyway, I think you're.
No,
trying.
there's something in my headset. I'm not shaking my head.
Okay.
Just a thing.
A little something. Okay. It was one of the best nights of gaming I've had in a long time. I had a blast.
Fun.
I basically ran the game, and was teaching it at the same time that Raef was playing the Space Marines and Andy was playing the Imperial Guard.
Yep.
And Ozbat actually had told me that the Imperial Guard was far more forgiving and epic, and it turned out to be true because their formations are just huge.
Cool.
And basically the way it's worked, I mean, I'm not going to go into it in any great detail, but think of it as being you're playing with 3 or 4 40K armies on a side.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like each army is going to pick a different army to target, and so things are like flying around, and the Guard, individually they stink, but there's just a buttload of them out
Firepower.
there. And if you get the regimental HQ, it's like all these chimeras, and it's just crazy. So it was a blast.
It was fun.
Very cool.
And that was with 15 millimeter
6 millimeter
Flames of War terrain.
Oh.
Nice.
And I just went out and I spent more money than I'm going to admit to Karen, getting a whole.
She does listen to the show.
Yeah, but I'm not telling the money here either.
I'm sensing she's going to get some shoes.
I don't know. She can get whatever
she needs.
On terrain. There's a train store in Nashua also. I had to do more banking.
It's a very nice city.
It is.
That's why I live here.
Hand-to-hand banking is pretty handy, apparently.
Exactly. And so they actually were having a
call it assault banking.
That's assault banking. There you go. They were having like a massive sale on their N scale train stuff, which is a little bit bigger than you want, but you want Z. But N scale just means the stuff's bigger, which is cool, except for like doors. But I got a bunch of like train stuff that looks like big factories.
Oh, neat.
And I put them together yesterday. I got a bunch of other stuff.
Well, I'm not playing Epic again, so I don't know what you're talking about.
Well,
No, I'm going to play again, but I'm not going to buy the 6 millimeter, I don't think.
And that's okay. I got Andy involved, and I got a couple other people on the hook too. So that was my big.
Well, as an achievement for Epic.
There you go.
That's old school.
Yeah.
So how about some modeling? So I've been in a modeling frenzy,
as you promised.
Really?
Last episode.
Yeah, I have. I've discovered my deadline is looming for TempleCon because I have a lot to get done. So my orc fleet is done. My Imperial cruisers are 80%. They're just the cruisers, not the whole fleet. But I'm working on it. And by the way, I have a tip for painting fleets fast.
Yeah.
Do not, under any circumstances, prime the sails black.
Why?
This is a mistake.
That's
because,
what I do.
Well, I know. I did this for my orcs, and it comes up fine in the end, but for speed painting,
really,
it takes longer to get the white sails dark or solid than it does if you prime them white and just paint the things.
Okay.
Well, this is a trick you use.
What trick?
No, say okay.
No? See this box in front of me?
Oh, he's got a trick. He's got a trick. He's going to show me some tricks.
He's got a little wooden box. And he's not shown us what's in it.
No, I have a little wooden box in front of me, and neither of these jamokes know what's in it.
Okay, so he's got a new model. So anyway, so I've got to finish the rest of the fleet.
Yep.
So here's what I got to do by next week. I got to finish the rest of my Imperial fleet.
Yep.
I got to paint my Warcaster, who's a mounted Warcaster on a large base.
Yep.
I got to paint my little Squire model. I got to paint my gun mage officer, and I just got a Sentinel coming into Myriad Games on Friday, so I got to paint that up too.
So there's a Privateer Press model that's called a Sentinel? What is that?
Yes. It's a medium jack with a shield and a Gatling gun.
Oh, that I knew that.
You don't have to paint all that up, though.
Don't you?
No, I never got one because it kind of stunk, kind of sucked until Jeremiah Cray.
Oh, okay.
Now he rocks because for those of you who play War Machine, Jeremiah Cray has a spell that every jack in his battle group gets range attacks boosted. So your Sentinel fires 1 shot plus D6 shots. With 3 focus, you can never boost all those shots, but with him, every shot is boosted. And when you're killing infantry, their armor kind of crappy. You just got to hit the bastards. So when every shot is boosted, you're killing. You're going on 1 to 7.
But you don't have to paint all those, right? That's just you want to.
I don't have to, but they won't be done. But they'll be like base coated, and 2-colored deal, just to get them looking nice.
Those ships sure as hell better be painted.
Oh, the ships will be pristine, my friend. Pristine.
Now, when are you guys doing your Uncharted?
Although you
thing?
could use we could just use the ones you paint for Dan, which is probably what's in the box.
What? Oh, he's a good guesser.
So anyway, but yeah, that's
when are you doing that thing down at TempleCon?
Oh, we'll run
because I have a
Uncharted
tag along announcement to make.
We're running Uncharted Seas at TempleCon Saturday. That's a week from this Saturday.
Yep.
Where the show will be up. It'll be actually be the Saturday after the show goes live, and we're running it from 3 to 6 p.m.
Yep.
And we're going to run it. We're not sure exactly where we're going to be yet, but we'll figure that out.
Haven't told us where.
I have a big announcement.
Yeah.
I am going to commit in non-random style. So this is for real. 3:00. Anybody who wants to look for me in the board game room, you have to be a D6G listener.
Now, why would you do it at the same time we're doing our thing?
Yeah, that's all.
Because you're. Oh, you think I might take away your people?
Well, no,
I was doing it because you were doing it.
All of us
then.
in one spot. It'd be kind of cool if you just hung out and said hi to people and press some palms.
He's like, hang on.
3:30.
Watch you play that.
3:30.
He's gonna give us a half
He'll
hour.
be a half hour. Then he's going to go off to. So what are you going to do, though, Raef?
We're going to play
Agricola?
Le Havre. Le Havre.
That's like Agricola 2, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a port version made by the same designer. I haven't checked it out yet.
You know what? I think I'm happy you're doing it at the same time.
Did you buy it?
No, it's going to be a demo copy from our local professional gaming store.
Oh.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, Dan's letting me take it down and break it out. And
nice.
Because apparently it's hard to get. Because I guess you can only get it from direct.
So cool. So if you're an Agricola fan, you like that kind of thing.
Yeah.
But this is not really, it's not farming. This is like a...
No, it's the same designer. It's nothing to do with farming. It has to do with ports. I don't know. I haven't gotten the box yet.
Nice. Okay. Well, that'll be fun. So what kind of modeling have you been doing there, Mr. Granger?
Oh, I'm excited. I broke out, modeled, built the Kazai Assassins.
Yeah.
Beast 09.
Yeah.
And here's the exciting thing. I didn't tell you this. You guys know this part. I built, spray painted my artillery company, my 105 howitzers that I can't use yet.
Yep.
And I fully painted them.
Wow.
They are fully painted. Spray painted this morning. I mean, the shellac coat.
Nice.
So I'm excited to break those out, hopefully in the campaign that I'm doing with Don.
Cool.
Yeah. So that's it for my modeling. Yeah.
Now, did you mention to me, are you getting some more stuff from Romeo?
Yeah, thank you for that. Romeo being the cool cat that he is, I was a little bit tight in measuring one of my models, my Dracoon. Mm-hmm. So one of them fits in so tight that I was worried his shield arm would pop off, and I was really mad at myself for that. So by the way, anybody who's out there, don't be like me, and make sure you pay attention when you're tracing. Don't be in a hurry. And Romeo told me there's a cool like YouTube video type of thing that they'll show you how to do it.
Yeah.
And it sounds dumb.
It's on the front of his website now, the YouTube video.
Yeah.
Just go to battlefilm.com.
But seriously, this sounds dumb. Like, why would you want to do that? But you wouldn't want to spend good money and then be mad that one of your figures of this custom tray is too tight.
Right.
But anyway, because of that, and because I beat Bill Stone 9 and I have this extra space, I called him to say, what do I have to do to buy one?
Yeah.
And he said, no, you're the D6G, Raef. He's going to totally set me up with one and take care of me. So that's the kind of customer service I think he's ready to offer.
Cool. So are you getting a new tray, or are you getting a tray with new stuff in it, or just fixing that one tray?
No, I'm going to get a new tray.
Nice.
Cool.
Yeah.
I'm going to have to order some stuff from it, too, because I need to get... my horse, my cavalry for my war machine, the lances are starting to bend and stuff, and I'm like, that's garbage.
Yeah.
I got to get a good custom tray for the horses.
Yeah.
So
can I do my shout-outs now?
No. Craig, what do you do for modeling?
For modeling, I acquired, started, and finished 2 full fleets for Myriad Games.
Nice.
In the amount of time
Holy cow.
Let me look. Russ finished 80% of 3 cruisers.
Well,
Okay.
okay. I'm not even going to try. Good on you, mate.
Admittedly, one of those fleets is a dwarf fleet, which is not that difficult to paint. But the other one was, what are you painting?
Imperial fleets.
Human Imperial. Oh.
Yeah, what do you got in the box,
That's
buddy?
Human Imperial. You haven't done the frigates yet, right?
No.
The frigates are ridiculously top-heavy.
Yes, they are.
You absolutely
I'm going to base them.
have
I already
to base them,
discovered that problem.
And that's why I brought this to show you.
How'd you base it? Put clear bases?
Watch.
Oh, my. Oh, wow,
Okay.
that's nice. He did flags, too, people. This is ridiculous.
You can go to plastech.com, or actually Google Plastech, because I'm not sure what their website is.
So this is the same material you made the table out of? This plastic?
Nope.
So what I'm looking
at... That's blue agitated water plastic card.
That's really cool.
So what I'm looking at here is a well-painted little frigate, and he's got it on this agitated blue card. You mean it comes blue like this, too?
It comes blue.
Wow. You have to give me the link.
It looks like disturbed water.
All right, we'll have to put pictures of this up along with links to this. But it's got a little base. Craig has modeled a little prow wave.
Green stuff, bow wave.
A little bow wave, and then he's got a little stern thing there. And then he's got, it's even got blue colors of Myriad Games. He's got the Myriad Game logo on the sail. Oh, you put me to shame. This is awesome.
That's when you were hand painting the little M's.
So we're going to take a picture of this baby and put it on the website.
That's really cool, man.
But
4 achievements for that. That's awesome.
You've got to go, because this was $7 for this sheet, and it took most of the sheet to do just one fleet.
Yeah.
But I mean, how cool is that?
That's very
awesome.
Cool.
If you have to do it, which you have to with these,
Yes,
there's
you have to,
I originally tried to put it so that the sail was perpendicular.
I tried
with
that
the
too. It
rest
doesn't
of
work. Yeah,
and it
looks better when it's not perpendicular.
Exactly.
The sail
it looks
should be
cool like that.
That's why I did it. And so, I wanted to show you because I knew you were going to have to do this,
nice.
and this stuff is ideal. Absolutely.
I was going to
ideal.
get flat plastic card, but that's much better and less work.
And for $7.
Yeah, that's really cool.
You
I'm
really
in.
go wrong.
I'm in. That's awesome.
And so that was my big
nice
thing.
job.
And then,
jeez, and then he did some of the MPOC stuff.
I did my MPOC Martian Invaders with gunmetal and black wash.
Yeah,
and
nice.
It was awesome.
Dave
really
painted
made
his
it
up
pop.
too.
Yep.
A little bit of, all he did, he's just the little color on the edge of the bases so you could tell which ones were his.
Yeah.
And then he just did some washing with some lines, and they look awesome. It's just really simple knot.
I mean, some of those models look like, I think the dinos look great. I think the Planet Eaters look great.
Yeah.
And the mechanical guys, they're the two human mechanical factions, they're okay. But the Martian Invader, I don't know what went wrong
but even
with that.
Even the hyperforms, I think the hyperforms are kind of boring because they're one color.
Right.
But you ink them like Dave inked his hyperform.
Yeah,
I'm going to ink my Terracon hyperform because it just looks.
It brings out the
It just gives them a little depth. It looks really nice.
I'll have to check that out. I haven't seen
looks
that.
good. Yeah, they look awesome.
And,
So what about other stuff for our achievements here? So first, we have a very special thank you.
Yes.
Absolutely.
To our friend in Scotland.
Yep. That would be Timothy Humble.
Timothy Timothy sent us a little Christmas care package.
A care package.
A message from Scotland. Bonnie, Scotland.
Bonnie, Scotland.
And what did he send us, Craig?
Argyle.
He sent us
From Argyle.
Argyle, Scotland. Is that where all that pattern comes from?
Argyle. What?
Is there one town in Scotland that invented the pattern?
There was a character whose last name was Argyle.
I've started drinking scotch.
Braveheart.
Did I tell you that?
No.
For real.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's good.
And he gave us...
He sent us a package of neat stuff.
First he gave us some tablet from Bonnie Wee Scotland.
Which is like I never had it before, and all of us loved it.
It's like a candy kind of... I've been eating like most of everybody else's share recently.
I want it right now.
For those of you in New England, it's right there next to you. For those of you in New England, it reminds me of maple sugar candy without the maple in it.
Right.
Yes.
You just could suck the maple out.
It's like
that's
vanilla.
What that's what it tastes
I actually like it better because I find the maple candy too sweet.
Almost too sweet. Yeah, I could eat this by a bucket.
And I have been eating everybody else's share.
Actually, give me a piece of that.
Yeah, give us a piece.
You hog.
Here's the plate.
And so what else they send us, Craig? Will I enjoy some tablet?
Well,
Can you cut me a piece of that too there, Waco?
A lovely sort of saucy wench with wings and a tail model from
I love those.
Westwind.
Saucy wenches?
Westwind models.
I do.
Looks very nice. And War Glue wins the battle. The ultimate glue, which he says is the best glue. Unfortunately,
I'm going to try it.
I think he said you can't get it for right now.
Well, I think he said the manufacturer is currently going through some changes, but I think it's still existing.
But this is obviously the
That's
glue,
good.
his glue of choice. He sent
Good
us
tablet.
that.
Thank you.
And he said, hey, "Give me a piece of that."
There you go.
It's really good.
Somebody had
It
half
is
the
good.
tablet.
I did.
Back off, please.
And he sent us. He painted for us.
Definitely beats haggis. I don't mind telling you.
Oh yeah, no kidding. Of the two Scottish delicacies I've
Right.
had.
If I had to have one.
He painted up a Black Reach Terminator in a nice green and yellow pattern, and it says D6 on one shoulder pad.
Can I have it?
Why? Because it says HD on the Power Fist?
Well, that, and I want to put it in my office. Can we rotate it like every quarter?
I don't know. We'll fight over it.
Yeah,
you guys can wrestle it.
But
Tell you what, play a game of Epic 40. One of you guys can have it. Play a game of Epic 40K. Winner takes the.
But anyway, it looks awesome, and it was very nice little Christmas present package from Timothy.
Good tablet. All right, I'll go with the tablet.
I'd just like to say, as an English teacher, Timothy, horrible overuse of parentheses.
Wow.
That's a little inside joke.
It was a joke. At the P.S., please forgive the overuse of parentheses.
Nice. So thank you so much. And
thank you.
Big shout out to Timothy and all our friends in Scotland. That was great.
Absolutely.
Good food.
So sleepwalking and sleep talking have run in my wife's family.
Yeah.
So we go upstairs one day, about 3 days ago, and our son is completely naked inside our bed.
Yep.
And we don't have any idea why. He's fallen asleep on the clothes on our bed and the books on our bed. He's never done this. Mm-hmm. So we move him. And then about 15 minutes later, Marisa goes to her side of the bed and splish, steps in a little water. And she's like, "Did you spill some water over here?" And I'm like, "No, I haven't even been over there." So then she's like, she starts to clean it up. And she starts to be like, "Well, this is weird," because we had magazines near the bed. Yeah. The magazines on top were totally dry, but the magazine underneath was totally sopping wet. Can anybody out there put two and two together?
No.
Send your suggestions to Hollywood at the D6generation.com.
We suspect young little Master Lou slept-walked around the bed to the nightstand thinking it was the toilet. And peed. He did. He peed all inside the nightstand.
Wow. Oh, man.
Yeah.
That is an adventure.
That's too bad.
That was quite an adventure for us.
Yeah, that's always fun. Not as bad.
Can I get my shout-out now?
Yeah, please do.
All right, listen. This shout-out goes to my Northampton GameStop. Northampton's a real dinky town. And we have our own GameStop. I mean, how cool is that? Cool. Yeah. So we got some new listeners, Craig. You gave us a challenge.
Nice.
And we have,
yeah. Hey, what about that?
Well, I've picked us up 2 new listeners.
Okay,
so I'm going to give a shout-out to Jed.
Yep.
He's listened to all the episodes so far, and he's so excited.
Hello, Jed.
Yes,
right, Jed.
He's so excited about
the
the
story about a man named Jed.
Poor mountaineer barely kept his family paid.
A poor game seller barely kept rid of it.
It's probably
all
true.
All right. No more songs.
All right. He's really jonesing to play some miniature battles, and guess what miniature battles he wants to play?
What?
Uncharted Seas.
Wow.
Sweet. A man of taste and distinction.
So I invited him down, and
nice.
he already has the itch. He wants to buy a whole bunch of his models,
Great.
and his wife said no. So he needs
wise woman,
welcome
probably.
to the club.
Right.
So he needs to come down and check it out. But I also want to give a shout out to Sean and Kevin, who is the manager there, and CJ. And I don't know, Sean, even though we play this, Russ, he was trying to explain it to me, but I was ignorant. I think his guild took down the Inevitable City, or got into it, or something.
Oh, really? They actually were one of the first people to take out the city.
He
nice.
was the first, he told me.
Wow, that's big news. That's big news.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So he's very happy about that.
Great.
Cool.
So welcome, guys. Thanks for being listeners.
I have just, in my last little achievement here, I have one little update on my Apple TV front.
Yeah.
Been going great. Yeah. We're averaging $20 a month in show purchases, which we're saving $80 for the switchover. So right now we're doing great. And we've really been excited because we're watching Torchwood. And I'm really enjoying Torchwood. Yeah. Torchwood is, for those who don't know, the spin-off series from Doctor Who.
Yep.
Starring Captain Jack, who is like one of the main guys who can't die.
Yep.
And then a bunch of this hyper-secret team called Torchwood, which investigates all the paranormal craziness.
Which was established by what queen?
Oh,
after
Queen
meeting
Elizabeth,
Doctor Who?
right?
I don't think it was.
I can't remember. Who was it?
No,
Do you remember?
I know, I don't.
But they're based in the capital of Wales. Now, the only thing about
Wales
the show
has a capital?
Yes, it does. Oh. And the only thing and Owen's been on the show, too. Owen's been on every show ever filmed in the greater Welsh area, apparently. But here's the thing about the series that a little interesting. There's an awful lot of guy-on-guy
Well, you know why.
action.
Captain Jack is bisexual.
Oh, I know, he is.
And that would just be some kind of strange convention if they didn't occasionally...
No, but it's not occasional.
No,
it's a main plot point like every episode.
Maybe he prefers that side of him.
No, it's cool.
He's not really bisexual.
No, he definitely dates chicks too. I mean, that's okay. It's just very... Like in Doctor Who,
Are you a homophobe?
No. I'm just wondering, is it a Welsh thing? It's just very interesting. I don't know if it's like
I don't know, man.
I don't know.
Borderline.
Well, no, it's just this. It's so.
This is not very tolerant.
No. You have to watch the show. I mean, seriously, because it's so. The sex is like so casual.
Send all your emails to.
No, it's just interesting. It's just very. Not even just. No. It's the girl. There's girls. There's guys, and there's guys and girls. But it's just so casual on the show. It's like, who are you going to sleep with this week? Like, it's just
Were they
random.
trying to maybe make up for the fact that Doctor Who never sleeps with anybody?
Could be. I don't know.
They're all
but it's like so casual. It's like literally like everybody in the show has slept with everybody else in the show, regardless of their sexual orientation. It just depends on the day of the week.
Sounds like a real soap opera.
It's totally random.
And is it addressed at all, or is it just...
No, it's just like, that's how we do it here in Wales. Serious.
Wow.
Owen, let me know. Am I totally whacked, or is that just how it is in the
I think he wants to hook up with Owen, he just said.
Maybe. I don't know. When in Rome. I don't know how it works. I mean, I don't know these things.
I was just in Rome. It didn't work that way.
Oh.
Well, maybe it did back in the days of the baths. I don't know. Who can tell?
That's true.
And then there's another Seinfeld reference in there. Not that there's anything wrong with that.
Not that there's anything wrong with it. That's right. It's
yeah.
fine.
There you go.
See,
not that there's anything wrong with it.
Right. It's just interesting because in American TV, I don't think you'd ever see that much.
Right. Well, that depends on what show. There are plenty of shows where it's all about the sex. Generally, they feature teenagers.
But even like
people our age don't watch them.
Look at like a classic sitcom like Will and Grace.
Yes.
Featured a lot of gay men.
Yes.
I think you can count the number of times they kissed on screen on one hand.
Okay.
In Torchwood, if Captain Jack doesn't kiss a guy at least 2 or 3 times an episode, it's a slow episode.
Really?
Seriously. I mean, like, in his last big villain he fought, he was like had a love-hate. Not only did they fought and then kissed and fought and then kissed.
Sounds like my relationship with my wife.
It's really interesting. I like the show. I'm really enjoying it. It's just very...
Your wife is a supervillain?
As an American viewer...
See, she doesn't listen to the show, so I get to say stuff like that.
Nice.
All right.
So, set me up. Let me know, Owen, how that works in Wales.
Okay.
Is this just a strange thing on Torchwood, or is it Wales?
Homophobic comments getting achievement now?
It's not homophobic. I'm asking for Owen feedback. I'm watching the show. I'm giving him money.
There's a double standard here. If I started to say something like this...
Oh, you would have been shot down. Never mind getting an achievement.
He would have kicked my chair over.
I'm making an observation. That's all I'm saying.
Okay, anyway.
Craig, what have you been doing? Help me out, Craig. Save me.
Russ, did our numbers double as of last episode?
Double what?
Double. Did the number of listeners double?
Oh, I don't think so, no. They've gone up.
Okay, then, people. Okay, I know the English guys, when their clubs in particular, have been emailing and they're trying to do their best. They cannot pick up the slack for the rest of you. And I know, with what's going on in Gaza, in Israel right now, that there's no peace on earth. Okay? So I asked for peace on earth or our listenership to double. I'm disappointed.
All right.
I'm done with you.
Well, I think some people are doing efforts.
Oh.
Okay, but anyway.
All right, achievements for asking for help.
I don't know that you get achievements for other.
You're getting achievements for asking for help. Okay,
anyway,
I appreciate
guys,
your effort.
Keep spreading the word.
Right.
And okay. Oh, and a tiny little shout out to Justin. Now, I'm in an acquisition phase myself, and I went on eBay for a couple little odds and ends. And I got one little notification that they received my payment, and at the end of the notification from somebody I've never met before, and my eBay account says nothing about the D6 generation, so there's no interaction there at all.
I remember this.
At the very bottom of the little email that said, "Thank you we received your payment," it said, "Thanks for the excellent podcast."
Hey, neat.
Which I thought was really neat. That's my first.
You never know where you're going to find a listener, right?
There you go. And then thanks to Paul Osbad.
Awesome.
I already said that. Okay.
Well, that's achievements in gaming.
This is the D6 Dice Demon, and when I'm not tormenting souls in Hades, I'm listening to the D6 generation. Shouldn't you?
The D6 generation.
Dice are our vice.
My favorite thing about our friendly professional gaming store is the personal service, with the store keeping up with my interests and letting me know when something I'd like is available. Thanks, Myriad Games.
My favorite thing is the knowledgeable staff. When I go in looking for something, I can literally say, I like this, I don't like this, or I'm looking for this, and they can provide a great game recommendation. Thanks, Myriad Games.
What I like most is I have my very own game broker. I mean, he guides me right to the games I need, and he helps me stay way clear of games I don't need. Thanks, Myriad Games.
My favorite thing is the fantastic selection with hundreds of games in stock and fresh titles arriving all the time. There's always something new and shiny to check out. Thanks, Myriad Games.
My favorite thing is that I can make a special order and receive any of thousands of items in a timely fashion. Thanks, Myriad Games.
And thank you to all our loyal customers.
We look forward to providing you with friendly professional service each and every day.
Thanks for shopping Myriad Games.
And now, What's in the News, sponsored by Rizzo, who says, congrats to Patrick for opening a new professional friendly local gaming store in Halifax, Nova Scotia, Canada, the Quantum Frontier. Good job, Patrick. Blood on the Net. Cyanide Studios has been releasing quite a few new trailers for their upcoming video adaptation of Blood Bowl. The videos look promising, as does what we know about the game so far. Apparently, it will release on the PC, Nintendo DS, PSP, and Xbox 360. All the versions will feature a turn-based gameplay mode that fully respects the Living Rulebook 5. In addition, the PC and 360 versions will also feature options to play the game in real-time mode. The PC real-time mode will play similarly to an RTS, while the 360 version is rumored to have more of a Madden football feel. All signs point to awesome sauce for Blood Bowl fans. Make a case for your name, or a name for your case. Anyway, Dakadaka.com is helping BattleFoam.com name their new cases. Head on over to Dakadaka.com's front page to see mock-ups of the new cases and enter your name ideas to win cool prizes. It's a small world after all, with giants. Days of Wonder has announced their next big board box game, or box board game. Anyway, it's called It's a Small World. Apparently, the new game's theme is that of a world that is too small for a wide variety of fantasy races, and players work together to take over the world with their favorite race. Skeletons, giants, elves, and more work to control the land. A featured mechanic is that players will be able to mix and match abilities with races and thus create flying dwarves or alchemist elves or whatever else they can dream up. Closed Gaming Studio releases potential AAA title. Despite being closed by Microsoft recently, Ensemble Studios is on track to release Halo Wars within a few weeks. Even better, the demo will be available on Xbox Live starting on February 5th, 2009. That's this week, folks. According to all reports, Ensemble really have done a great job in getting the RTS control scheme on a console. I guess we'll all know soon enough when the free demo hits Xbox Live Marketplace later this week. And that's What's in the News.
Are you having trouble fitting your whole army into one carrying case? Ever had your heavy centerpiece models break through the sides of their foam tray to scrape against their neighbors? You'll never have to worry about any of this again with Battle Foam. The trays from Battle Foam will hold over 30% more models than any standard tray, and they make foam to fit any box, including all manufacturers' carrying cases. What's more, they will custom cut your foam trays to fit any miniature. The boys at BattleFoam.com can even personalize each tray by etching Army logos, personal text, or images right onto the foam. So go to BattleFoam.com right now and pick up the best foam on the market. You've spent more time and money than anyone wants to think about on your models. Shouldn't they be as safe as you can make them? BattleFoam.com. Hooah!
Okay, and welcome back. And today we're very excited to have with us Aaron Dill from Gale Force 9. How you doing, Aaron?
Fantastic. How are y'all doing?
Good, thanks.
Doing
thanks
good.
for coming on.
Yeah.
I really appreciate it. So, Aaron came on. We wanted to kind of first chance to get to talk to someone from inside of Gale Force 9.
That's right.
A company I've been always impressed by for a long time.
Actually, we interviewed somebody at Gen Con, but the quality of the recording wasn't so good.
Yeah, that's true. So let's get started. So, Aaron, now, first, as we always ask our guests, are you now or have you ever been a gamer?
Am now, always have been.
Excellent answer.
Yeah,
right out of the womb,
on a steady diet of Parcheesi and other board games, and then got into Games Workshop stuff with Man of War back in middle school.
Oh, nice.
Wow.
Nice.
That's old school.
Yeah, we like Man of War. We've been talking about that a lot since we've been trying out the new Uncharted Seas stuff, so we've been very excited about that.
Yeah, which looks very cool.
It is. So what are the... go ahead.
How about now, currently, what's your gaming life like as we speak, contemporarily?
Gaming life right now has been somewhat impacted by the arrival of a daughter 10 months ago.
Congratulations.
Thank you. So, but yeah, I still really like Warhammer 40,000, Warhammer Fantasy are both great. I feel really like Flames of War was a fantastic game. And more with the kids, we played a lot of board games with my wife and friends. Yep. So we have a large cabinet of board games that we
with Aaron's daughter, he's now in the game of life.
Yes, he is. He's got one little pink peg in the car.
Yes, that's what I'm thinking.
Room for 3 more.
Right, room for 3 more. Yeah, what's the magic number for you guys, Aaron? Have you decided yet?
Probably one more.
One more, too. Yeah, that's my magic.
Yeah, there's just not enough games that are really good with more than 4 people. So
right, it's a good point. It's all about how many family members can throw on the table.
That's an excellent way to. I mean, there are a lot worse ways to come up with a number.
You know what I've learned is if you have more than 4, is when you go to Disney World, you have to get the bigger suite. That's what I've learned.
Yeah, that's probably true.
Okay. Now you're an Imperial Guard player. Is that what we heard earlier?
Yeah, I've got multiple Imperial Guard armies.
Ooh,
nice.
I've got
define multiple.
Yeah.
I've got a really big Steel Legion army.
Nice.
Kind of fully mechanized Steel Legion army. And with some of the changes about how vehicles capture table quarters, I added in a whole bunch of Inquisition stuff and about 60 stormtroopers.
Wow.
So I could also have an all-infantry stormtrooper force as well.
Wow.
Nice.
Kind of. So, big...
Awesome.
And
nice big Imperial Guard army, and then also have a Black Templar army.
Oh, cool. And fantasy?
Fantasy is Bretonnians and Empire.
Oh, you like those humans.
Now, what are you playing?
I like humans all across the board. Any game I'm playing, I'm probably playing a human.
You're even in Flames of War?
Especially in Flames of War.
Now, which humans are you in Flames of War?
Russians.
Ooh. Lots of humans.
I was going to say, you can't get more human than
count.
that.
That's right.
Yeah, I'm kind of a slow painter, and I realized I made the decision to paint Russians before I had read the rules even, because I thought the models were cool, and that does not gel well with my my painting style.
No, that's a lot of guys.
That is a lot of guys.
It's a lot of little guys.
It's a lot of guys.
Now, rumor has it that you mentioned your painting. You may be slow, but you're also pretty good. Have you ever won any prizes for painting?
Just a couple. I took a Golden Demon in the Fantasy Regiment category a couple years back at the Games Days, and took second place in Fantasy Regiment again, actually.
Nice.
Which is both with units from my Bretonian army.
Oh, now were those units that you use when you play the army, or did you do special units?
Absolutely. I kind of with me, I really enjoy painting. I'm decent at it, but if there's not a game at the end of the tunnel, I have no motivation to paint.
Gotcha.
If they're not going to see a game table.
Yeah.
So everything I've ever entered into a competition has also seen the battlefield.
Oh, that's great. Cool.
Nice. Now, do you have any gaming nicknames you want to make us aware of?
Or nicknames at all?
Yes.
Back when I was in Games Workshop mail order back in the day, Sparky was a nickname.
So Pickle has never been used. Has Pickle ever been used to refer to you at all?
Once or twice.
I didn't know. I just saw a couple articles.
It may or may not have come up on a Google search.
Google on the GF9 site, no less. It's like Aaron Pickle Dill.
I stand by the T-shirt. The pickles are cucumbers soaked in evil.
Nice.
That's awesome.
I like that.
Yeah, I sense a pickle-themed army.
No, I'm not much for wacky-themed armies. I like armies that have mud in the tracks and dirt on the robes, and
build some of those.
Half-smoked cigarettes in the Hellhound pilot's mouth.
Sweet,
cool,
stuff like that.
Because who would smoke if it wouldn't be the
Hellhound driver?
The driver of a Hellhound.
What happens if the pilot light goes out? You got to have something ready to go. You got to be ready for these situations.
That's why my model looks like that.
That's right. Now, how did you get involved with Gale Force 9? How did that roll?
John who's the owner of the company. He started Gale Force 9. I think it was almost 10 years ago now.
Yeah, seems like
when he was shipping, he was a first mate on an oil tanker, and so he was doing Gale Force 9 when he was at home, and not being on the oil tanker when he was at sea, and just started getting big enough that this was 5 years ago now that he took it on as his full-time job and realized he needed some help. So Sean and I came on shortly after that as the first full-time employees, and have been there ever since.
I believe it was Sean that we talked to at Gen Con.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah, Sean and I were the first two employees of Gale Force 9 after John, the owner.
Oh, that's awesome. So you've been in this as pretty much the ground floor.
Yeah, and John, coincidentally, we didn't know each other when I lived there, but John is from my hometown. So I worked at Gale Force 9 and was actually moving back to where I grew up.
Small world.
Yeah, small world.
That was the connection how we met originally.
And now you said you worked for Games Workshop at a period?
I was with Games Workshop for 4 years before I started at Gale Force 9.
So John poached both of you guys from GW then, right?
Yeah, a fair amount of our employees are from our ex-GW. Yep, Sean drove the battle wagon around the country for a while. That's how he met John. Jason Buyaki, who was Games Workshop US's head scenery builder, he's doing all of our scenery now.
Wow.
Doing great stuff there.
It's looking amazing.
It does look amazing.
Yep, Dan Miller does a great job. He's our customer service sales guy. And he's ex-GW, as is Pete Prescott, who used to work at Games Workshop.
Oh, nice. Wow.
So we got a whole stable of XGW guys.
Yeah, and a lot of gamer experience in that company.
Absolutely.
Obviously.
There's a lot of painted figures between a lot of us.
Nice.
Yeah.
Now, can you give our listeners like an overview of Gale Force 9 for those who are maybe not familiar with the company?
Yeah, sure thing. It's Gale Force 9. I don't know. As a pithy slogan goes, kind of like we make great games even better. And it really originated from all of us are gamers. We're all playing the games. That moment in the middle of a game when you think, it'd be really cool if we had a doohickey that did blah blah blah.
That tracked this bit of information.
Right, and that's basically that's what we do. We make accessories, tokens, dice, blast templates, terrain, vinyl printed game mats. For a really wide variety of games. We've been really lucky to work with almost all of the major game manufacturers. And since we're not competition, we don't make games ourselves. We make stuff for other games, so we're able to work with everyone all at the same time and be friends with everyone, which is great. Because there's a lot of great games out there.
It started way back when with laser cut wood, right? I remember 1999 Games Day in the basement of our hotel. John was selling little cutout buildings.
Yes.
Yep.
And
remember those.
Yep. And I think he was the guy who also just happened to also have Plasticard that he had picked up from somewhere.
Yes.
Selling
I sold that at Dakar for years because I had piles of that Plasticard.
It was like $1 a brick.
Oh, I don't know where he got that from. That was a little suspicious, to be honest with you.
Those laser cut movement trays and War Master terrain. Were
the War Master terrain.
Very first products that we were selling.
The first thing I saw, which never became a product, was when I played in a grand tournament with Matt York, of all people. I don't know exactly how Matt was involved with Gale Force 9, but he had the laser-cut wooden spell cards for Warhammer Fantasy.
Yeah.
And for a brief period, GW was so excited about this, they're giving away as prizes at the Canadian GT. And then shortly after that, GW decided that maybe that wasn't something they wanted to do, and they stopped that. But that was pretty cool.
Hey, Aaron.
Yeah, those are popular, and Matt York and John were friends from way back. Matt's been a great champion of our products from day one. He was actually... I credit him with I think he might have had the idea for using the lasers to make movement trays back in the day.
Oh, cool.
Really?
Hey, Aaron. Do you happen to know, one of the things I find fascinating, especially in my real life as a business attorney, is I like hearing the beginnings of businesses. And I can kind of remember, gamers are one of those groups that are people that are like, I'm not going to buy those tokens. I'm just going to use glass beads or wooden discs from Michael's. And yet here you guys are, more successful than ever. Was that ever a fear or a concern, do you know? Or John never cared and he's like, I don't care, I'm not looking back? Or tell me about that.
Not really a concern. I mean, there's certainly people who feel that way and who would rather use glass beads than full-color tokens. And that's totally fine in the same way that there's lots of people who can't afford to buy every single model that they want. We try to make the stuff as really as good as we can.
Yeah.
And then we charge what we need to charge for it. And obviously, it's the good value to some people if you can afford it. And if you're a 14-year-old kid, you're just starting your army out, you're probably going to buy models instead of our accessories. But for veteran gamers, you've got your army. You want to do more for it. You want to make your army as cool as you can, and that's certainly the impetus for the movement trade.
It's like gamer bling.
Yeah.
It just adds to
you know what? Part of it's laziness. Like
it is. Yes,
you can make a movement tray from scratch. It's not that hard, but it's not going to look quite as good as a laser cut one. And it's a whole lot easier to just buy one.
Yeah.
Yep.
But what's always impressed me is the tokens, because they look great. They're hard plastic. They got the fuzzy little back.
Yeah, I like the fuzzy back.
Stuff. And some people might argue
also known as felt.
Yeah, fuzzy little stuff. It's a technical term. But what I've always found interesting is people will say that's expensive, but if you go to other laser cutting companies, it's like twice the price and half as good.
Yep.
Really, I don't know how you guys do it.
Not to mention any names.
Not to mention any names, but
a big part of how we do it is we make a lot of tokens.
Yeah.
I think we've got 4 full-time guys now who are working the lasers. We've got a big room full of lasers that are working all day long.
Wow.
So we make a lot of tokens. And
does it look anything like a set from Star Wars?
Not so much.
All those lasers and everything.
Or maybe with out of control and you're trying to climb through the...
Yeah.
Like in that...
There's a lot more
Star Trek
baggy T-shirts and ripped jeans.
Now, have any of your employees been quartered into little chunks do they ever malfunction? No.
Thankfully, there's some safety latches on the lasers. You're not
big red button. Push this to save your life.
You're not actually. We've been trying to convince Johnny to get a laser tattoo, but I read a tutorial about it on some wiki somewhere. But we haven't been able to convince anybody.
Why very still?
Honest, I've seen this done in a cartoon.
Now, one more thing: is there a table that looks like the table from Dr. No? Where you lay a guy on it and say, "Do you expect me to talk?" No, Gale Force. No, anyway, sorry.
I expect you to be carved into tokens.
That's right. Now, you mentioned you make a lot of tokens to keep your costs down. So how do you guys go through the process of vetting a game system and deciding if it's going to be a big enough fan base to make tokens for that? I mean, how do you guys decide this game's worth trying to support or this new game may not be? Because I know you guys have jumped on the bandwagon for some new projects early, and other games you kind of said, maybe not yet. How do you guys go about that process, or is there a process?
It's not exactly a formal review process. It's much more of we check out the rule book, we talk to some people with the company, we kind of feel like, is this a cool game? Is this a game we'd want to play? That's basically it. I mean, I think there's a lot of games that obviously work with some of the biggest companies in the industry, and we've got products. We worked a lot with WizKids. We've got products coming out for Wizards of the Coast games. We have a very close partnership with Battlefront, with doing lots and lots of Flames of War stuff.
Right.
But we also have we make products for a lot of smaller game companies that Urban Mammoth. We make stuff for Urban Mammoth and Resolution. We've got products coming out for Alchemy coming out soon. They're just games that they're cool games. They're cool games. We think that other people are going to enjoy playing them. We think we can make a product that makes them a little bit more fun to play, a little easier to play. Yeah, then we go for it. One of the great things about the laser manufacturing, since it's all in-house, we can go from a design to a finished product in just a week or two.
Wow.
Since we're doing, I do most of the designs. All the products are made in Virginia, so we can go from idea to packaged product very, very quickly, which is cool. It also means we can do small runs of things. There's a game that's coming out that we think could be cool. We can give it a shot.
Cool. Uncharted Seas. Oh, sorry. That's something in my throat.
Something stuck in your throat?
Sorry about that.
Uncharted Seas was that?
Yes, that was it. So now, what are you, Aaron, personally involved with every design project, or you just had some key projects you've been involved with since your time there? How's that go?
It might not be true to say that I've been involved with every single one. I think there's certainly projects that other people have done, but I'm involved with most of them.
Okay.
Almost all of the laser cut stuff. Like I said earlier, Jason Buyaki does all the terrain stuff.
So, like the Pirates, the Pirates terrain is obviously not laser cut, right? That's in
the Pirate Islands, the Battlefield in the Box sets we've done for Flames of War, all that stuff is Jason.
Okay, cool.
But most of the tokens, templates, the working out the design. I mean, and some of the stuff is done with other partners that we have, like the dice aren't manufactured on site, but we do the designs for those.
Cool.
But if we wanted to impress people, we could pretty much say we just talked to the guy that was in charge of everything. I mean, really.
When it comes down to it.
In charge of everything? That would be John.
That's right.
In charge of all the tokens.
But
the token guy, the design guy. You're the design guy.
Yep. If you sent Gale Force 9 an email that said, hey, I've got this really cool idea of, I want some tokens that look like the shadows on the ground of Huey helicopters that I'm going to use for my Vietnam game. I want Huey shadow tokens that have these game stats for my Vietnam helicopter game that I just wrote. I'm probably the person you talk to.
See?
Or turning templates for Uncharted Seas. He'd be the guy to talk to.
Just as a generic example.
Just as an example.
Maybe firing arcs.
Right, firing arcs, maybe damage tokens, little broken ship wheels. That's just the kind of examples we're throwing out.
Yeah,
that's right.
Just,
Interesting.
Now, I noticed when I was Googling a lot, there were some mentions of you with MechWarrior and GF9. Did you do a lot of work with that?
More than mentions.
Yeah.
Really.
Were you involved with that, or did you just play it a lot, or how did that, or was that something you guys did there?
MechWarrior is a game that one of the neat things about the job working at Gale Force 9 that there's some games. MechWarrior is a good example that I had not ever played MechWarrior before we started working on products for the game. I was certainly familiar with the BattleTech universe.
Sure.
But I hadn't actually played MechWarrior. But when we started, we're talking about making products for the game. We read through the rules and got a bunch of mechs and played a bunch of games, and we're like, oh, this is really cool. We should totally do stuff for this. So I got into the game because we were approached about doing products for it.
Cool.
Yeah, that was a neat. We did tokens and we did buildings, and with those we actually had limited edition mechs made to include with our products, and a couple of us, myself included, were lucky enough to have pilot cards done up.
Cool. That's cool. I think I remember that. That's awesome.
Yeah, my little portrait on one of the mech pilot cards, which is always fun.
That is cool. Now, you mentioned you were approached. So is Gale Force 9 sort of the size now where a lot of even medium to large size gaming companies kind of give you guys a call out of the blue and kind of say, hey, we got this new project on the horizon. Would you guys be interested? Or do you guys do most of the knocking on the doors?
It's about half and half. I don't know exactly what percentage goes which way, but there's a lot of both that goes on.
Okay.
Especially at shows like Gen Con or the Gamma trade show. A lot of just meeting new people. That's where new games are debuted. We meet new companies. Just kind of take a walk around the hall and see what's there and see what's chat with people. And but no, we're definitely of a size now that we get a lot of requests for products. And we're just as likely, though, to see a new game and give them a call and say, hey, we think your game looks really cool. And it'd be even cooler if you had some neato tokens.
Awesome.
Great. Now, we've talked about your past projects, and what are you working on right now? What's the hot thing that you guys just came out with?
A couple things that are not out yet, but that we're working on.
Ooh, cool.
Are accessories for the Axis and Allies game.
Oh, wow. Is this the collectible miniature game or the board game?
The collectible miniature game.
Okay.
So, tokens, game mats, stuff like that. So a range of accessories for the Axis, both the naval and the land game.
Oh, cool.
Those are looking very cool, and I'm not sure exactly what the release date is, but within the next few months, I believe.
Awesome.
And then we're also working on an expansion, our first expansion packs for the Warhogs line of tokens.
Oh.
The Warhogs tokens that we introduced at Gen Con last year have been super popular, and we're coming out with the second wave of those.
Yeah, before you get into your second wave, why don't you tell me about those? Because I think they're fascinating. Raef and I just picked up.
I love them.
Warcogs each for our War Machine, and then I got another set for some of my Horde stuff. But obviously they're generic; they can be used for a variety of games. How did the idea and the concept of sort of this Warcog? Well, first, I guess go ahead and describe what they are, but then how did the idea for the Warcog concept come about?
Well, it's a neat set of tokens. It comes with 6 different cog shaped tokens, each one of which has a unique icon on it, a fist, a lightning bolt, things like that.
A skull.
They're very iconic graphic images in the middle of each token that are easily readable from across the table.
Mm-hmm.
So you got a bunch of those, the cogs, the 6 different ones, and then included in each pack is what we call a spell lexicon card. It basically has each of those 6 icons down one side of the card, and then blank spaces next to each icon, so you can then assign a different spell effect to each icon. The lightning bolt graphic, that's going to be my disruption storm spell effect.
Right.
And what that allows you to do is use the same token pack for multiple spellcasters, for multiple games even. You could use it for a game of Battletech role-playing one evening and War Machine the next evening.
Sure.
Obviously, for anyone who's familiar with our products over the years, they're designed to match aesthetically with the War Machine tokens that we previously made. But they're generic, they're user-defined, which gives them a lot of flexibility, so they can be used for lots of different games.
I have to say, it was cool back in the day to have tokens that exactly matched my Warcaster's abilities, but it's much more affordable. This model is much more affordable for someone like me who has multiple different armies and different Warcasters for the War Machine product, for example.
Absolutely. Even when we were producing the War Machine tokens, which were very popular among players, we'd kind of realized that to some extent they were a victim of their own success.
Right.
That there were so many different packs. I think at one point our range of War Machine tokens was upwards of 60 separate unique packs of tokens.
Too many SKUs for stores and stuff.
That's tough on stores. And a lot of players, you don't want to carry around 200 tokens for every game and having to sort through your tokens. So that we had talked for a long time about what's a way that we could revamp this range and make it even better. And then War Machine decided they wanted to experiment with making their own tokens. Figured that was a really good opportunity to bring some of those ideas to fruition and come out with a very, very flexible range of tokens that would both fill everyone's needs and be a little easier on stores and be take up a little less space in your figure case.
Right.
I have to say too, when I first heard that the War Machine tokens weren't going to be made anymore about Gale Force 9, I was like, oh no, I love those tokens. But it's one of those stories where there's a silver lining. You know, you guys really, I think, came out with a great workaround with the Warcogs, because now I got university among any Warcaster. But the second thing I like is, like, I use shock troopers or anything that goes into shield wall. I can use the fist to represent shield wall. It doesn't have to just be a token for my Warcaster.
Right.
Yep. And that's actually that's why we're coming out with an expansion pack for them.
Oh, cool.
The biggest, most common feedback that we've heard from players about the Warcogs is that they wish there was a few more icons. That 6 is not quite enough for some people.
I could see that.
If you're playing big games,
you
with
two different casters, I can see that.
Effects.
Yeah.
Or just one caster and you want some for your troops to do shield wall, invisibility, things like that.
Right.
Exactly. So the expansion packs that are coming out, they're going to have 6 additional icons.
Oh, wow.
So 6 more cogs.
We should tell listeners, too, right, that Warcogs, even though there's different colored packs right now, the symbols in each pack are the same, right? So the red Warcogs and the green Warcogs, the symbols are all the same. So you couldn't just buy 2 packs of green or red, mix them up. You'd have to get it. That's why you need the expansion. That makes sense.
Although we have heard from some people who, to address they want more to be able to use more of these tokens.
Yeah.
Some people who are using, a black pack and a red pack.
Right.
And you just,
or you could mix and match the War Claws with the War Cogs, too. Obviously, that would work, too.
So, the War Claws are a companion to the War Cogs.
Right.
They have a little bit more of a bestial theme. Each token is in the shape of a claw, like a talon, rather than a cog. And the iconography on the tokens is a little more feral rather than mechanical.
Right.
But same idea, that there's 6 different tokens in a pack, and they're user-definable.
Cool. So the expansion is essentially going to be more variety of the Warcogs, but you still got the spell lexicon cards and all that stuff.
More variety. You'll get a new spell lexicon cards with the new icons. But one thing, the new packs are not going to include any of the energy tokens. We just kind of felt like, again, we try really hard to listen to feedback from our customers. That people are saying that they've got enough energy between the focus tokens we used to make and the energy tokens in the first packs. A lot of people were saying, we've got enough energy tokens. So the expansion packs are going to have the additional cogs with the new icons. They're going to have more of the smaller tokens, things like the power and soul and fire and poison and things like that. And that'll be it. And they also have a number of knockdown tokens in each pack.
Oh, cool.
Now, another thing... go ahead.
Yeah, more of the small tokens, new cogs. I think they're going to be coming in at a little bit lower price point since they don't have the energy tokens.
Right.
And then available online for people who need more energy tokens, we'll sell packs of just energy tokens that'll be online only to fill that need. Because somebody who's just starting out and doesn't have some of our old tokens, they're going to need some more of the energy tokens, and they'll be able to get those online.
Now, I also saw, and I don't know if these are directly related to Warcogs or not, but I thought they were, you also have these really cool new cloud effect I wouldn't really call them tokens, but plastic terrain sort of things.
They're kind of a cross between a token and a model and a template. They remain in play cloud effects, and they're a 3-inch template, which is a very, very commonly used size for
a lot of games.
Smoke grenades or stuff like that in lots of games. And you've got a 3-inch circle, kind of a donut, that sits on the table to designate the area that's affected. And then we've got a 3-dimensional stand-up smoke cloud or poison cloud or a fireball that kind of plugs into the center of the donut and actually is 3-dimensional on the table. That it's a little easier to walk line of sight and kind of remember.
It just looks cool.
It looks cool.
But I like how the centerpiece pops out so that if you've got to put a model in there, you can stand them on the circle, but there's still a circle below that shows where the effect is. Right?
And it's even cooler than that because if you can imagine, I have 2 of these smoke tokens. I love them. The smoke is made by 2 flat pieces crossed like an X. Right. So you can put your model in there and it just sits inside the inside of the X. So you really don't even have to pop the middle out. That's the coolest part, I think.
Those are handy.
Which also allows you, as an extra little bonus feature, it allows you to disassemble these and stick them in your figure case really easily.
I was actually going to mention that. They do go together. They pop in and pop out without being squeezing too tight or being too floppy. So they've done the precision. Yeah, and so it'll fit really flat.
Cut thing.
Go gadget lasers.
Yeah.
Go gadget lasers.
Well, while we're on that, I have a question on that. A lot of times, like a Warjack or something will blast a template. See, I thought my Warjack would fit right inside the donut. Because let's say I have a Kodiak that vents steam, around it, and I thought the Warjack would fit inside the donut, and then I could show it venting steam, but it doesn't. The Warjack's a little too big.
Oh,
so that's my one beef. So I want a vent steam template. I want thousands of those.
Thousands of vent steam templates. Well, there you go, Aaron.
Just give us a call. Yeah, we can make some steam templates.
All right.
Very cool.
Now, and really, that's where an awful lot of our products ideas have come from. Yep. It's chatting with somebody over a game table or at a show, and they say, it could be really cool if you guys made a venting steam template. I'd buy at least 5 of them. And we're like, well, okay.
Yeah, we'll check into it. Yeah.
Let me ask you this: do you guys do custom work at all?
We actually do a lot of custom work for stores. Stores that carry our products we can custom any of our templates. Arc visibility templates, the TAC templates, multi templates. Any of those can be customized with store logos.
I do.
So we can kind of etch store logos. So on any of those different templates, we do.
So you'll do custom etching on a shape you already do, but you also do a custom shape. Like could Raef call you and say, "Hey, I just want a one-off order this strange shape thing." Will you guys do that, or is it kind of like not you too focused on mass producing stuff? Or
no, we still do that too. I mean, I think that's both because we think it's cool, and it's just a way to. We're gamers too. Like we're big nerds about this stuff. Like we're happy to make a couple cool custom templates. I will say that if you're looking for one custom template, you're probably going to pay a little bit more for that than you would if you were looking for 100 of those same custom templates.
Sure.
Mm-hmm. But no, we still. Just yesterday I was designing some custom movement trays for a guy who wanted movement trays that had 15 different size bases cut out of them, a custom skirmish movement tray. And we were whipping up a couple of those for him.
Cool.
So we do custom stuff all the time.
Well, Raef already said he wanted thousands. So
yeah.
The price point there is probably going to be pretty low then, Raef, per unit.
I have these
if you're getting thousands, we can package them for you.
Yeah, sweet. Well, I got an idea. I got these 2 friends. They play this game. I don't understand. Some sort of ship game. They want some sort of wind direction, something. I don't know, dude.
Maybe a firing arc.
Yeah,
right.
I don't know.
Might be that.
Yeah, rudder damage token. I don't know.
To me, that's like watching paint dry, but whatever.
Right.
Yeah, to me, it's a little less like watching a farmer grow food.
I baked pies.
Yeah, they don't need Agricola. Ooh, Gale Force 9 could produce little meeple tokens for Agricola.
There you go, for Agricola.
There you go.
Little corn bushels.
Yeah, ooh, corn bushels.
I think the closest we got to that were our cheese tokens that we released for April Fool's Day.
I remember those, the wine and the cheese.
Wine and cheese. I've been on the receiving end of one or more of those.
Yes, too. I think Matt gave me actual wine and cheese once.
That's where the idea started.
I think it was Matt York's little thing.
He would woo his opponents with
yes.
actual wine, cheese, and crackers with each match.
Do you guys do? I could Google it, but I didn't bring my laptop. So I'm starting to look into historical wargaming a little bit, and they don't necessarily come with bases. I forget. Do you guys have a base range for 28 millimeter models, 15 millimeter?
We actually have 2 base ranges. We have our econo bases, which are just very, very, very basic bases that are cut out of cardboard. Same stuff you'd get on like the back of a clipboard, that kind of dense wood product. Because of that, they're nice and sturdy. They absorb glue. It's a cheap material, so we actually sell those by the Chinese takeout container. So when you order those on the website,
cool.
You can order either a pint or a quart. And we basically just fill up one of those Chinese takeout containers and mail it off to you.
That's cool.
Those are basic and those are pretty affordable. And then kind of our deluxe bases, which are actually more popular than the econo bases, are our whole magnet bases, our magnetized bases. And we have a really wide range of magnetized bases. Basically all the popular sizes of squares and circles and ovals and whatnot.
I've never gone the magnetized base. I'm always afraid they're going to like clump up on each other and stuff like that. How do they function?
The way to do it is it's magnet bases paired with magnetized movement trays. So you put a layer of, which is included with our bases, rubber steel in your movement tray, which is a non-magnetic but ferrous surface. So magnets stick to it, but it is in itself is not magnetic. And then you've got a magnet on the bottom of every guy. And my Empire army is this way. You can put the guys in their movement tray and then just drop the entire movement tray into your figure case. So my Empire army gets transported with the guys on the movement tray.
Nice.
And never had them fall out, never taken any damage.
How about when you're removing wounded models? They just pluck right off and you're good?
Yeah, they just pop right off.
Huh.
They're quite a bit stronger than your average kitchen magnet, but it's not. I mean, I could pull a plastic model up by its spear, and I'm not going to break the model.
Oh, see, that's what I was wondering too. Okay,
yeah,
thanks.
No,
that sounds good.
They're sturdy enough that you can metal. Or the test we used to do at shows is we took metal ogre models, Games Workshop ogre models, which are some of the beefier pewter models around. And those on 40-millimeter square magnetic bases, you can hold those upside down, and they're not going to fall off.
Huh. Cool. Okay.
I mean, I wouldn't shake it too hard, but you don't play games upside down and shaking.
Well, you should see what we do in New Hampshire. I don't know about where you live.
That's not how we roll.
Yeah, come on.
So before we run out of time here, is there any other future stuff? You gave us a couple hints earlier, but any other big things on the horizon from GF9 we should know about?
I think one of the really neat things we're doing now is we just a little while ago added a wide format printer to our arsenal of equipment. So we're doing more and more. We're doing full color, really high quality printed game mats for different companies. And we're starting to see varieties come out now. We did an ocean mat that looks really cool. We're working on a Starfield map. We're going to be doing stuff for Axis and Allies. It's just something that's an alternative. We did a lot of stuff for a HeroClix, a number of different HeroClix mats that were available. It's an alternative to the folded paper. It's anything where you're having to play on a hex grid or a square grid.
Monster Apocalypse. Sorry. I just had something in my throat there.
What size are these mats?
They can be any size. It depends on the game. I mean, so we can make them anywhere, between 2 feet and 6 feet wide, whatever's appropriate for the game. We've done anything from a 2x2 mat to I think up to a 3x3 or 4x4.
So my two friends that like this really boring game that I don't understand, if they wanted an ocean mat, they could have one?
I'm not sure if we still have any ocean mats in stock. Those were a limited run of things. But yeah, we were selling 3x3 ocean mats for a good while for the.
Those are more for pirates. I think those are a little small for. I looked at those because when we were getting into Uncharted Seas, I think you were just having that big deal on the mat with the pirate terrain deal. But the scale's a little bit big for or small.
That's what I was wondering.
Well, great. Well, Aaron, thanks so much for being on the show. We really appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for your time.
Yeah, thank you.
I'm Raef, Hollywood Granger, and this is the Hollywood Minute, sponsored by Blood Bowl-Ireland.org. 30 cages playing real-world Blood Bowl in Ireland? Come, have a game. And I have to say that when I heard about that one of the coach's ghouls died and they sent him a big bunch of flowers delivered to him at work, priceless. So it was brought to my attention that there was a little discussion of defamation and libel going on in the Daka forums. So I thought I'd take a moment to break it down. It's always interesting how law is in the real world as compared to how it is as portrayed by the media or newspapers. So let's take a look. Seems like there was a case following English law, so for me this is going to have to be a little bit different as I'm an American lawyer, not an English solicitor. But I can get the gist of it pretty well. Well, it seems like the facts of the case were actually not enclosed in the documents in the Daka forums. They were discussing the enforcement of a settlement agreement as it looked like the underlying case was settled. We can assume it might have been a successful case, or you could always assume that the defendant just ran out of money. But let's assume that it was going to be a successful case. Defamation is an area of law that includes libel and slander. Most people can remember slander regards the spoken word, and libel is in print. The elements of defamation are: 1. A defamatory statement needs to be made. 2. It needs to be published to third parties. And 3. The speaker or the publisher knows or should have known that the statements made were false. Elements in a cause of action, such as defamation, are the items that needed to be proven in order to have a successful case. So there are 3. Defamatory statement, published to third parties, and number 3, the speaker knew or should have known that they'd be false. Defamation is one of those areas of law that you rarely see successful in real life. You hear about it in law school, and there are tons and tons and tons of interesting cases on it, but they're really hard to prove. Why? Because first, you have to show damage or harm to one's reputation. In order to show damage or harm to one's reputation, you have to have a reputation. And then lastly, you have to show harm to the reputation. That can be an incredibly hard thing to do in a court of law. Did the person lose money? Did the person lose out on chances for jobs or other writing? If you take a moment to think about this, you can see how this is actually really hard to prove in real life. How do you know how somebody was or wasn't going to get a future job? Maybe it was based on a defamatory statement made, but you could easily defend against it to say the person just wasn't going to get that next job. Another thing that you hear about spoken about on the streets is, well, it really upset me, or it bothered me, or I suffered mental anguish or mental pain and suffering. This is another fallacy that only exists in law textbooks. It is incredibly difficult in the real world to prove any kind of mental pain and suffering. Again, you have to prove that you've suffered it, not just state that you've suffered it. So to sum up, defamation cases, which again include libel and slander, are usually very rarely seen, at least in the United States, because one, you have to have a reputation, and then two, you have to show how it was harmed, which can be hard to do given that it's hard to predict the future. Now let's talk about the defenses to defamation. Most people know this. The truth is an absolute defense, and there's also a second set of defenses called the public figure defenses. I'm not going to get into these here because they're quite numerous. But the truth as a defense is an interesting thing. If you're on the internet or in other kind of print media or spoken, and you are making a true statement, that is not defamation. However, this has to be something that can be categorically proven or unproven, not the truth as you see it. So don't go flaming somebody out on the internet forums claiming it's truth as you see it. You could wind up in a little bit of trouble. And let's talk about that. The law has typically two remedies. One is to provide monetary damages for a successful lawsuit, but the court has what we call equity powers, which is the power to do or not do something. So I could very well foresee a defamation case in either libel or slander, where the remedy being sought is to have someone stop saying or writing a particular thing over the internet. Let's look at those elements again. 1, a defamatory statement. Let's assume that was true. 2, it harmed the person's reputation. A person can have a reputation on the internet and on the forums, and could seek a court to have an injunction, which is to say, have a person stop making those statements and even make an apology. So I would say, not being an expert on online defamation cases, I would say one still has to be rather careful with what one says or writes in an internet setting. Don't let the anonymity of the web fool you. If someone wanted to, I foresee they could have a successful defamation case, especially if the remedy being sought is an equitable one, which is to say an injunction to stop the writings or the speakings. Well, I hope that clears that up just a bit. And as always, that's my story.
Avast, ye rogues! There's a new port of call for your discussion and trading forum needs. RogueMarket.com. A trading post on the edge of the web where you can go to discuss victory, tactics, and the stories of your favorite battles with other gamers of like minds, leading troops across every field of conflict in the galaxy. RogueMarket.com isn't like those other trading forums. At Rogue Market, there's no fee to enter or trade. Whether you're selling old figs to make way for new ones, or in the market for collector's pieces, Rogue Market is the place to go without having to pay for the privilege. So go to RogueMarket.com and be part of the biggest, newest forum of discussion and trading on the internet. Rogue-Market.com. Arr!
When wives attack.
Hello, it is us, it is the wives. I am Karen, Craig's wife.
And I am Nicole, Russ's wife. And this week our shout out is from John to his two best friends and supporters, which are his partner Lisa and his son Dominic. And it says they have been supportive and understanding of my gaming habits through the years, or in Dominic's case, the last 17 weeks. Congratulations on the new little baby boy.
Congratulations. Okay, I'm going to start off with guest book signatures. Davis, Chris, Jericho, Frill. I don't know if that's a...
Frill? Is that a real name? Frill, is that your real name?
Or is that a typo? It's supposed to be Phil. It's P-H-R-I-L.
He's Frill to us now forevermore.
And Elijah. The Meeple pictures are up. I added a couple of things to my favorites page, too. I think I added pillars.
I'll have to check it out. I haven't seen it.
Pillars and something else. And I have to update our archives. So check it out at thewives.webs.com. Like spiderwebs, thewives.webs.com. And our email, we have two emails.
And it is thewives.web. And make sure to do the email. Everyone's telling us they can't email because I think they're not doing the entire email.
Well, the email is thewives@the d6generation.com.
Not just wives, the wives.
Right. And the website is thewives.webs.com. You can't really email the site. You can sign it, but you can't really email
But don't forget the, like in
the wives. No
most
space.
important
The
ones.
wives.
The wives, yep.
Okay, we have two emails to talk about this week. We'll start with Peter, who obviously listened to our last episode. I was wondering if you two realize how much Betrayal at the House on the Hill sells for, since you mention it a lot as being a great gateway
You don't mention it as being blah, 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 blah.
No, we don't. Great gateway game. Unfortunately, it runs $100 or higher on eBay or the Board Game Geek, making it more expensive than most of the pricier games that are currently in print. As a suggestion, it might be a good idea to look at presenting other games that are more available in the future. So, my response was that we talk about tons of games.
We do. We talk a lot. And you know what?
We could list like 25
we
games
do.
we
And sometimes they're like little cheapies. Like you pick up literally for like 10 or 15 bucks for little card things. And sometimes they're on the pricier side.
And with Betrayal in the House on the Hill, for me, I'm the one who talks about it.
Although I finally played it.
Yes. It's an exception to me because I think it's such an important game that I know it's out of print, and it's the only game out of print that I talk about. And I think the guys mentioned they might be coming back or something.
Yeah, we'd heard through the grapevine
weird.
it might be coming back, that they might be reworking something with it, and it's coming back out sometime. I don't know, that could be like tomorrow or in 10 years. But
and if you ask me, it's worth $100.
Well, it is. You know what? And the thing to take away from it, too, is if you've ever played it, or if you're familiar with it, or if you go and you look that up to like find out a little bit more about it on Board Game Geek or whatever site, or your friends or your local store or whatever, that if you say, oh, I wanted this game, and they say it's not out, they're going to be able to tell you games that are like it, or you'll see the games that are like it, or you'll get a feel for what the play is like. So if you're trying to introduce somebody to the game, you're like, okay, I get it. That's the kind of game. Well, this isn't that one.
Right.
But I see this other game, and it seems like it's sort of the same dynamic as the other. And so use it not so much as like you must buy Betrayal, or you may not play any other game, as sort of like a guide for the kind of game maybe that you could try picking up.
I think that was the point of the interview we had with my sister-in-law, was not so much that that's the game we played, but more of she does not usually play those types of games, so what it looked like to her. It could have been any game, and that's the game sort of that we chose, because I think it's a good gateway game. So it was more like that. But we do, mention probably 25 to 30 games. And we'll mention some more tonight.
I did play Betrayal, though. Karen
but
finally
we'll talk about it later.
Oh, I'm not allowed to talk about it. Sorry. Okay, never mind. Moving along. We do not have bullets like the guys. Okay, go ahead, Karen.
Well, this is my secret. I didn't tell you what we're going to talk about.
Oh, God.
All right.
I'm in trouble.
And then this is the greatest email from, I don't know if I should say his name. I don't think I'm going to.
Okay.
I have a slight problem. My girlfriend and I have just started going out. I am the closest thing my school has to a nerd and gamer, and no one knows about my Warhammer obsession. However, I feel I need to tell my girlfriend so she knows how I spend each and every one of my Saturdays. She is not the most girly girl around, but I'm sure she won't be as crazy about me and my Space Marines after she learns they exist. Any advice would be nice. And I would love to read my advice because I think it was good.
Okay, go ahead. Read your advice.
And he said it worked. My advice would be to tell her in a nonchalant way, the bigger you make the issue, the bigger it will be. Mm-hmm. Don't sit her down for some big talk, and by no means do not go into the details. You can definitely tell her about your hobby so she knows without ever mentioning the word Space Marine. That is too much
She does not
detail.
need to know what things are called, or
no,
that, you like to paint them this color or that color. You like this wash over that wash, and yeah, that's too much detail.
Yep, and I ended with, there is nothing wrong or weird about what you do, so don't act like there is. That will only convey a lack of confidence in yourself, and that is definitely not what she is looking for.
Yeah, just say like, hey, well, I hang with the guys who do some, you play some games and stuff on Saturdays, so in case you're wondering, that's where I am. Does not need to know the details of the game you're playing until you've been with her for a little while, unless she really, really asks and she
unless
really
she wants to know.
Then you got to fess up, and but then just be confident about it, because it's if you're confident about it, she's going to be curious and be like, oh, okay, whatever. That's cool.
And it worked. He wrote us back saying the conversation went great. She didn't even care. And now he's doing that on Saturdays, and she knows where he is, and she's all happy.
And he's not worried about it at all.
No, he was psyched.
Yay.
Okay. Should we make our announcement about what we're doing in a few weeks?
Okay, go ahead.
You can do it. Oh, you don't know?
I think I know what you're talking about, but I'm not even sure. Once again, no bullet points, and you told me I can't say anything. So I'm waiting for you. I'm sitting here with nothing.
Joining the boys at TempleCon.
Yes.
We will be there. We don't know exactly what we're doing yet.
Nope.
We will come back with some sort of segment. We don't know what it is or what it will be like. But we will be there. So you can look out for us or whatever.
Yeah, we're going to be at TempleCon, and we'll have a little handy-dandy recorder, so maybe we can get somebody there to chat, so you might get to see us there, which would be kind of fun. We're kind of looking forward to... I've been to a few cons. You've never been to one before. So this is new for Karen, so if you do see her there, please be nice and don't, scare the bejesus out of her. For me, I've been to a few cons before and just know what to expect, and... Yeah, so it should be.
I have in my head what to expect, but
that's not what it's going to be. Whatever you think it is, it's not. I'm telling you right now.
Well, I went to tournaments at DACA.
Yeah, that was like the biggest tourney we ever had was, I think, 40 men, right? 40.
Well, there was one huge one, and my dad came to it. I remember that. That was more than 40 people, I think.
Your dad came to a tournament at DACA?
Yeah, well, not to play. You know how I've told you, he's sort of interested in these games. He wanted to see. And
I was unaware that your father was
there.
And
he went to DACA. It was a huge tournament.
Could have been we had one that was like 40 players once. That was crazy big.
Yeah, might have been that one. It was. Okay, so Nicole and I have a new game to talk about. We have both played Pandemic.
Yes.
We didn't play it together. I played it.
Oh, I don't know. It was a while ago. It was before Christmas. I played it.
Have you only played it once?
Just that one time.
Okay.
And you played it this last weekend. I liked it.
I liked it too.
I thought it was neat. I talked about it, how I thought it was funny that the colors of the little, they're not really meeples, but they're little people pawns, don't match up with what you would think they are. Like I can't remember the names now, but there's a pink pawn and it's the beefy guy. Yes. And I'm like, why is this way? The colors aren't working for me. That should be the nice little delicate lady.
That's true. I liked it a lot. Very straightforward.
Yeah.
Very basic, but still strategy to it.
Very easy to learn. It did not take, we played with, there were two of us that hadn't played and two of us that had. They explained it to Russ and I, and it was no problem. They were very easily able to make us understand what was happening, so we felt like we weren't just being dragged along, that we were actually playing the game with them. So.
And it was neat because you do play against the game.
Yes.
So that's really fun. I enjoyed that.
You don't try and win. It's not you. It's all of you trying to beat the pandemic. The co-op. Karen loves saying that. She says it's a co-op. I can name this.
I've learned I really like those games.
Yeah, and it is fun, and you do get to work together, and it's definitely, you're all helping each other out. So it's a fun game. It's fun to work together sometimes rather than trying to beat everybody.
What I will say about it is because we had a game night with Dan from Myriad Games and his wife Sarah, and we played it before Russ and Nicole showed up, and. The theory of it being a great gateway game. I think it is a great gateway game as a number 2. And I will tell you why, coming from a non-gamer.
Okay.
With Ticket to Ride, in my head, there's 2 types of gateway game lines. I have the cards going to things like Ticket to Ride going to Carcassonne. And then there's the side of Betrayal going to Battlestar. There's to me, there's two roads.
Right.
So this side being on the more calmer side with Ticket to Ride. I would put it one step behind Ticket to Ride, and this is why. If the girl doesn't play games, Ticket to Ride is straightforward, where it's trains and colors and destinations, and that's it. When you whip out Pandemic, it's explosions.
That's true.
It's diseases, and the guys, are research, each. There's a guy for...
There's a researcher, and there's someone who secures buildings and things to make sure you have locations to take care of diseases, and
So I think the play of it, and once you play it, it's definitely, I think, a great gateway game. But if she's not into those games at all, I would still start with Ticket to Ride.
So it's not so much the game, it's a little bit the subject matter, a little bit that it's...
Pandemic. It's got the... as soon as they whipped out the thing out, there was explosions on the board. I know, you know what I mean? Like blow up things, fire and stuff.
Are we going to talk about the other game we played that night? Or that we didn't play that we
the
watched
boys
being played?
Yeah, it's going to come into the topic at the end.
Again, don't know what I'm allowed to talk about.
So that's what I think. I think I loved it. I think my dad would love it because it's just it's a basic game.
Anybody can get the hang of this game. Yep. It's not a complicated game,
but
and
it's still
fun.
Really fun, and it's strategy, and it's fun working with everybody. But I would put it as a number 2 in those. If she is like with Nicole, Nicole, I would use it as a gateway game because she likes that kind of stuff. So fire and explosions and people like that.
What are you saying about me?
But if I sat with someone who had never played games, I might start with Ticket to Ride first.
Yeah. I do like that stuff. When we were playing Betrayal, they don't read, her and Sarah weren't reading all the, like, you walk down the hallway, it's creaky. I'm like, no, when I have the card, I am reading all the creepy little mood stuff on there. I did, remember? I was like, I read every single one. You and Sarah were like, okay, yeah, move 3 spaces. I'm like, you walk down the hallway. There's a door. A hand leads through it. And you're like, come on, what do you do? I'm like, I'm not done setting the scene.
That's funny. That's true. All right, that will lead us into my secret topic.
Okay.
I'm going to call it, I won't call it anything. I will dedicate it to our men.
Uh-oh.
Because
I sense you're in trouble and it isn't even me.
No, not at all. It's actually a good thing. It's like ode to the guys.
Okay.
What happened at our game night is the guys pulled out some crazy game, if you want to talk about that game. I don't even understand.
It's called
Android.
Android. And this...
We had no part of that.
We had no part of Android, and I'm going to say right now, oh my gosh,
I've never seen anything like
there
it.
Were 182,000 small pieces, another 182,000 medium pieces, and probably 5 billion large pieces. And there were cards, and there was a book that Russ never put down the whole night. He was
an hour and a half just to set up.
Yeah, because I sat there watching I had my watch, and I'm looking, and I'm like, they've been setting up. It's an hour, and they have not played the game.
Yeah.
And we played Betrayal, and we were sitting around goofing around and chatting and playing Buzzword or something, like the ladies. But craziest game ever.
And I still don't know
I think the guys
if they
might talk
it.
about it tonight. I don't know if they're going to talk about it. They might chat about it.
Eventually, I think they will.
I think they may have enjoyed it more than we ever would. I'm saying more than we did. Watching it was painful for me. It was too much.
They didn't really look like they were having fun.
Yeah, they looked stressed.
I'm sure they did, but they didn't look it.
I think there was some fun had there. But yeah, I think they were concentrating so hard and getting all the nuances of the game. It was like, oh, wait, what do I do? Yeah. I don't know, maybe it's something if they played it 20 times, but it's long. They called it. And how long did they play?
Like 3 hours.
3 hours, people, and they were not even close to being done. And
they weren't. I don't even think it was less than halfway.
Yeah. So crazy long game. Breaks every rule of gaming with a woman ever.
Yeah.
Right?
No. Yeah. No.
You never.
Don't even ask her.
Never ask her to play this game.
Because then if she does
ever.
out of guilt, then she'll never play another.
She'll never play
again.
another game with you because that's a deal breaker game for ladies.
Yes.
Don't even
pull it out. Don't even
show them the box. Just take it right now, guys.
It's great for guys.
Yeah,
though,
those of you who have it in your hands, take it, put it back on the shelf or back in the trunk of your car to take to your next guy game night. Because do not take it out for the ladies.
All right, why I'm dedicating this to our men is because while they were playing that game, Nicole, Sarah, and I played Betrayal. Nicole had never played before. Sarah loved it, and I loved it. So we said,
I'll play it.
Would be
yes.
Now, it wasn't the greatest game of Betrayal.
Karen, I think what you actually said to me was, this is the worst ever. This is not how it works. This is not it. Like, Karen was so mad. It was like, someone squashed her birthday cake. This is not how it's supposed to be.
Well, because I didn't want your first introduction not to be a good one. But I think, one, we had a bad
scenario.
Bad scenario. Not a bad one, but not a fun one for your first time.
Did not fully utilize all the aspects of the game.
But, and this is my topic, I think it was more than that.
Uh-oh.
I think I realized that I need my husband. I really like playing games with my husband.
Good. You need your husband. Craig, you're good. She's not leaving you tomorrow.
And I think I think you can agree with some things that happened. One, there was no leader of the game. There wasn't.
Well, I didn't know how to play.
Right.
I couldn't lead because I've never played before.
And we were not very good at leading you. I'm right though, aren't I?
It was so what were you saying, Karen?
It was, I'm not used to leading, especially in a game like that.
Yeah.
And I don't think we explained it great.
It did kind of break the rules that we tell guys never to break.
Oh, yeah.
Which was make sure you guys knew how to play the game, but every scenario is a little bit different. So you didn't know how to play that scenario.
Yeah.
But there was a point where it's like you guys okay, this scenario stinks, and it was confusing, which is not your fault. There was some weirdness to what we played.
But it wouldn't have been confusing for the guys. That was my other point. The guys would have known. I mean, this is another thing to tell the audience. We stopped 4 times to go ask them what we're supposed to do while they're playing another game.
Although I was sitting there saying, "Oh, just do something. I don't care. Just pick. I don't care. The monster drowned her. Whatever. Just pick. Make a guess.
There were things that we couldn't understand in the rules. It
was a little weird.
And
I was kind of rolling die and wasn't quite sure why. I'm like, what do these die do? But that was just, so it was a little off.
And I really, it's the first time I can say that I've ever played a game like that without Craig.
Oh, really?
Oh, yes.
No, we played Pillars.
That was you and I playing a 2-player game.
But we played a game. It's not like he had to hold your hand. You were doing it. You were fine.
Betrayal, I mean, an intense game like that, I should say.
Okay.
Betrayal's kind of like a Monopoly game. Like, it's more straightforward.
Karen gets more vested in that, apparently, in Betrayal.
I do, because there's, like, the story and there's everything. And I really think that it made a huge difference that the guys weren't involved. And I think it affected how the game was played.
It very possibly could have.
I think it affected how it was taught to you. And I think it affected the whole thing.
I think it did. I think it did a little bit. Karen's looking very discouraged. She's like, dang it didn't go the way I wanted.
And I thought of this, literally, I thought of it on the way here, driving in my long commute from work.
Yeah, we had horrible ice and snow here, and everything was awful.
I don't really like playing games without my husband.
Aw, Craig, she likes you. She really likes you.
I've we joke about how they teach the game and how they're, this is how you have to do it and all their rules.
But you know what that comes from? Needed. That comes from them having played games for a zillion years. Yeah. So they're really used to explaining, not even necessarily to their wives or girlfriends or whatever, they get used to explaining how to HD Hollywood Granger is in the house. He walks into the room in the middle of our recording with a bag from Wendy's and a soda. Dude, this is our turf.
Is there any pizza?
Yeah, because Raef is now looking for pizza. Good Lord, it's our segment and he's still looking for pizza. He can sit here, but you have to be quiet as you drink. Look, he's not going to say a word. Did you hear him saying words? Okay. Now I totally forgot what I was saying. Oh, but yeah, because they're used to teaching people all the time. So because they're teaching people all the time, teaching us a little bit different, but still they have the knack for how to show somebody how to play a game and how to make sure they know why they're rolling 4 dice here and what those 4 dice mean. So there's something to be said for that.
I think we tease them all the time, and I think I was like, wow, there's really a point, like there's really a purpose for them doing that, and I really missed not having to play the game. And I think it affected the whole thing. So
and Karen did make me promise that I would play that game
because
again.
It just didn't. It wasn't the right way.
The exasperation
and now
on
we'll
her
have to
face.
play with the boys.
We'll get together.
I need them to play games.
She looks almost a little sad.
That's what
it's
I've
okay.
Learned. That's what I've learned.
Oh, that's funny, Karen.
So that was my secret topic.
That was your secret topic?
So
okay.
we love our men when they play games with us.
Yeah, they do. They're very good at teaching us games.
We need them. All right, we have a couple God forbids for the end.
Yeah, I can do a God forbid, right? Do you have one? I have one. Okay. The God forbid I had, or mine wasn't so much a God forbid as it was just
It's really long.
It's because I was okay. Just leave it be, Karen. Okay, that's because I had to write it down so I'd know what I was going to say. Okay. Mine was like an attention to detail thing. You know how guys have like attention to detail issues in their day-to-day thing? Mm-hmm. Like, okay, I had an example that happened to a friend of mine this last week. Her husband was being a nice hubby and he said, oh, honey, I'll help you do the laundry. She's like, awesome. I'm going to help you do the laundry. So she goes out and takes the kids somewhere that she's taking them and she comes home. The laundry's done, put away, fantastic. Opens the drawer. She's like, why does this stink? Right? She's like, what's going on? Why is my laundry stinky? And she's like, honey, you did the laundry, right? Yeah. How did you do the laundry? So he gets kind of indignant, like, what the heck? I did the laundry, dude. It's laundry, right?
Yes.
And she's like, no, something's wrong. Something doesn't smell? Why does my laundry smell worse than when I left, right? Then she finally figures out what he did. She had put the laundry in the washing machine to be washed. So he took out the stinky laundry, threw it in the dryer, dried all the stinky laundry, folded the stinky laundry, and put it away.
It's really the worst situation.
Right. So I'm thinking here, I'm like,
if
she could notice that the laundry was stinky from opening the drawer, what did that dryer smell like when he opened the dryer? Right. Really gross. Like a woman would right away go, I've done something wrong. It should smell downy fresh. It should not smell disgusting. Yeah. He didn't even notice it, but these are the same guys with attention to detail, right? That they will spend like 4 hours with 2 models in their hands going, well, the green from the first time I painted these Space Marines is slightly darker than the green from the second time. So I have to dry brush this a little bit more here. I need a little more shading. Maybe a wash. How can they do that for 2 hours and catch that? But the stench of dirty laundry, they can't touch. Yeah. They can't tell.
And that is the worst situation because you want to be like, how did you do that? And then they get upset that you're mad.
Yeah. I said when she was questioning him, he looked at her like she was an idiot. Like, I did the laundry, and she's like, oh my God, you didn't? Oh, I'm never letting you help me do the laundry again.
And that attention to detail, I had another one of those I've talked before about when I can't move on the couch. Yes. Craig was painting something for ships or something. And, I moved, and he's like, no, seriously? You can't move at all. Like, you can't blink. Yes. And I'm like, what are you doing? And I look over. He goes, I'm painting like tiny little M's on the ship, and I look over and it's these tiny little M's, and I'm like, okay.
Yeah, so with their stuff, the attention to detail, insane. But something obvious like you're drying dirty laundry, as your whole house is going to stink, and your wife now has to do 10 loads.
You know what, though? Now, this is really bad. When he took it out of the wash machine, didn't he notice it wasn't wet?
Dude, did you not? I don't know. I didn't notice that it wasn't soaked.
Yeah.
Didn't notice that it stunk to high heaven. Didn't notice that it smelled worse when he put it away than when. No, see, attention to detail only when it suits them.
This is another one that only suits them. Mine was, God forbid he's looking at the credit card bill. This doesn't even happen in my house, but things like this happen in my house. And he's going through, and there's like a shoe store charge, and he's like, what is this? You know, what did you buy? Oh, I bought a pair of shoes. Do we need these pair of shoes? And then I look at the credit card bill, and there's 10 things from eBay that, like, he never, ever mentions that,
Did we need that blast template, honey? Did we really need that? You couldn't go on with the 42 you have? Yeah. You had to have that one?
And then he gets whatever a blast plate is, and then goes, don't move when you're sitting on the couch. Don't move.
See, you guys are inconsistent, and we've totally got you nailed.
All right.
But we love you anyway, and Karen can't game without you, Craig.
I can't game without him is what I've learned. All right, I think that's it.
So that's what we have this week, everyone. We will see you next time. Take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Hi, I'm Spencer.
And I'm Philip.
And we're the hosts of 40K Radio. Each episode, we cover the world of Warhammer 40K, including tips and tactics, news, product reviews, and our take on it as well, no matter how warped or twisted it may be. So grab a beer and go to 40kradio.com to check out the world's #1 Warhammer 40K podcast.
40K Radio reminds you to drink hard, game responsibly.
Welcome back, everybody, and this segment's going to be hijacked by me, so it's going to be random, scatterbrained, and...
No, put down the gun!
Listen up, everybody. So, for the...
another 24 reference?
Nice.
Wow.
The following takes place between 9:15 p.m. and 10:15.
It's already been hijacked. So, Raef, what are we talking about this segment?
We are going to talk about my overview into the foray of the magical, mystical world of historical wargaming. So, those of you that have been listening from a real long time ago will know that when I was just a wee lad, I was in Gettysburg with my brother and my father and I, and we walked into a store.
That is an array of odd accents he just used.
And
name them all.
I always was intrigued by miniatures, and so there was this whole miniature diorama. And I was like, hey, that's really cool. And I asked the shopkeep, where can I get those? And she said, actually, we don't sell those. That's a miniature game played by these guys that come in and play. And I thought, oh, man, that's the coolest thing ever. So never knew anything about historical miniature wargaming since then until now. So the historical gang, which you've heard us mention about in our game store, which we affectionately refer to them. So shout outs to Richard, Rob, Ted, and Bob. They've been very patient with me and trying to teach me how to do this.
They're great guys.
They are. So my interest lies in...
Even if their Civil War games are taking away from their Uncharted Seas time.
Hey, they were looking for you the other day, you know.
I was looking for you too, Mr. Epic.
Yeah, Mr. comes in with Epic.
Right.
Mr. had to go to kickboxing.
You know that old saying, Russ, where they say whoever smelt it dealt it?
Yeah.
Do you remember? He's the one that started with Magpie, and now look at him.
I know.
I can't help it. If I try to go to a game and then you guys are like, yeah, cool, and then what am I supposed to do? Be the only one
I don't know, Russ.
game till you
I
come
played
back?
you Uncharted Seas last week, and this week you blew me off and played
I didn't
Epic.
blow you off. You were supposed to have a Descent campaign, buddy. Don't talk to me about...
he does have a good point with that.
Yeah.
All right, fair enough.
Every other week, you're like persona non grata.
What's this segment about again?
Historical wargaming.
Historical wargaming. So how would you define a historical wargaming?
All right, this is what I've learned. Excuse me. I think this is just an observation by me and confirmed by the 4 historical guys in our club. Yep. So anybody out there who thinks I'm wrong, blame Russ.
Send an email to Hollywood at the D6 Generation.
Yes. This is my observation.
And he'll forward it.
I think the goal of the historical wargamer is history first.
Yep.
If
historical accuracy, you mean?
No. And if I had to rank them, it could very well be that they're not... No, not accuracy. I'll get to that.
Okay.
And I don't think you have to rank it. I just am ranking them.
Okay.
The study of history.
Okay.
A reason and an excuse for me to go look at the battles of Gettysburg, who fought, who was on what side, what were the force allocations, that kind of thing. Then painting and collecting second, because we know many, right, Russ, historical wargamers that love to just paint. They're happy to never play a game.
Yeah.
and probably playing third of the ranking of what they like to do.
And this is a generalization, so obviously there are other people within the gaming community.
Yes, this is total Raef's generalizations after 1 millisecond of playing and learning about it. Yeah,
right.
Yeah, okay.
So this is in no way an informed opinion.
No.
This is an outsider's view for other outsiders of the historical gaming community.
Exactly.
We're basically stereotyping now.
Yeah. Exactly.
Just the homophobia in the earlier segment, and now this.
Look, I was just talking about the amount of it. There's nothing wrong with it.
Anyway.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah.
Send email to Craig at the D6.
And he'll forward it.
Yeah. Now, the reason why I say this is because I got to play my first game called Fire and Fury. Now, do you guys know anything about trying to get rules?
I know that it's very difficult, and there's no such thing as a unified central rule set.
And they're not in full color.
Yeah, and they're
they rarely have an index.
Photocopied.
Frankly, they'll probably look like printed from Kinko's with 3 staples on the side.
Right.
You know? So for those of you that are like us, coming from what I'm terming a hobby miniature gamer, where we're used to what? We call up Games Workshop, right? We call up Privateer Press. We call up a Battlefield, or we go on the web, and we buy the rule book.
Right.
And inside the rule book will be your choices of armies, and points for those armies, and how you build your squads and the rules.
Mm-hmm.
Not so with historical wargaming. So if you're like me and you're like, I really want to know about Napoleonic Wars, good luck. Because you type in Napoleonic Wars in Google and you're going to get 800 hits just on Napoleon.
Right. It's crazy. You need I think you said it in the last episode, and it's very true. You need like a degree in history just to navigate some of these websites.
Yeah. So let's talk about that. So the first rule of thumb is there is no one rule set I've learned.
Right.
So how the heck do you begin searching? Well, what I learned, if you're like me and you like American Civil War, the key word seems to be ACW. If you type in American Civil War, you're just going to get articles on the war. But if you type in ACW, you'll get gamers. So once I heard the historical guys calling it ACW, I'd go, what's ACW? And they go, American Civil War. I'm like, As
this goes back to the last, did you ever notice?
Yes,
the acronym key.
Yes.
Key and some folks said gamers weren't, but see, clearly, if you look for ACW and you don't get a bunch of historians talking about it, you get a bunch of gamers talking about it.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
I think that goes back to the
Who
point.
said gamers don't use acronyms?
There was a comment on the website about that.
No, I missed that.
But then he reversed himself at the end, and as he thought about it more as he typed, I think he's like, maybe you're right, because he had a bunch of examples.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Well, because comparison to that is English Civil War. So that's, So ACW is the key word there. And then what I found was there seems to be about literally 25 rule sets to play American Civil War.
Right.
About 10 of those are out of print.
Yep.
But apparently...
Really? Not only that, I would have expected more.
Yeah, I would have too.
Yeah, well, there's probably 50, but about 10 were out of print, and that means 15 in print. Some were homegrown, like the email addresses for some guy from his history professor from some college. I don't know.
Bob at AOL.com.
Yeah, exactly. But the ones that seem to be pretty prevalent were this Fire and Fury system, which you can use for other rule sets, and then the newest one I saw is called the Guns at Gettysburg. I say at because I learned if you type in Guns of Gettysburg, you get a completely different rule set. Rule set, mind you. So, and that's based off
So rules is like a dime a dozen, really?
Yes.
It's like just pick the one you want?
Yes.
Is there a convention you think more people gravitate towards?
Yes. And that's what I just mentioned. For American Civil War is what I've learned is Fire and Fury and the Guns at Gettysburg, which is based on a name I can't pronounce and didn't write down, a French rules writer that wrote a set of rules for the Napoleonic Wars.
See, I think all of this supports your original theory that the gaming itself is third or fourth on the list.
I think it is.
Because the rules seem sort of very secondary. You can do this one, you can do that one. It doesn't really matter.
It's also why historical gamers in general, I think, are a more splintered group, and they lack a unified voice on the web and in the gaming community. Like if you go to Gen Con and whatnot, but I mean, there's also sort of like a snobbishness almost.
Yes, very much so.
Secret club.
It is.
It is.
You need to know what ACW means.
You do.
Right, you have to know all the terms, the passwords, the handshakes.
Yeah. And so going on those rules, I think you're exactly right. There's no nice unified front like you get from Flames of War or from GW where everybody's talking the same lingo. Yeah. Heck, even the historical gamers themselves talk about magpies. Remember, Craig? Remember what they were saying? They have the same problem where they'll be like, okay, all right, so we're going to play the Lace Wars. I learned what that is, by the way.
What is it?
Lace War stands for the period of time after the Civil War, so 1875 to 1920 maybe, over in Europe. and I think I got this right. I might have my time periods wrong. And that can't be right. Anyway.
Nobody was wearing lace.
Well,
nobody fighting in wars.
The lace part
No, I got that confused with another time period they were telling me. Okay, the lace part was back when the guys wore wigs and your costumes were very fancy.
1800s.
That's it. That's the one.
before the Civil War.
That's before. I got my time periods
well
mixed up.
before the Civil War.
Yeah, I'm new to this.
Probably closer to the Revolutionary War.
Yeah, there you go.
Okay.
That's what it is.
But anyway, go ahead.
So these are magpies. So like, okay, we're going to play this. We're going to play this rule set. And we're going to play this scale, because you can play 6mm, 15mm, 28mm, right?
Yeah.
They all agree, right?
Crazy.
The next day they show up, what are they playing? Old Ironsides. They can't decide among themselves. But I digress.
Quite often.
So I do think that's what makes them splintered and what makes them fractured is the lack of the unified rule set. Now, this was really cool to me. I like this. When first I opened it up, it was very weird. I'm like, well, how do I pick my Union force? There's no point allocation. Well, apparently what you do in the real world of historical wargaming is they have stats of, let's say we're trying to recreate one of the battles at Gettysburg. They'll have the actual stats of the Union general and the force allocations that he had under him. So let's say
how do you know what the stats of a Union general
Well, the book does. The rule set has that.
The rule book
So someone
had
sits down and decides that Stonewall Jackson's stat will be this, and Grant's stats would be that.
No. Sorry, wrong stats. The amount of soldiers at that battle.
Oh, statistics.
Okay. Statistics.
Which is, I guess, the same word. But not the units.
No,
not the units' abilities.
No,
or
there's
kind of
no
game
weapon
mechanics.
skill, ballistic skill, strength, toughness,
just
wounds.
numbers of people.
You start with numbers of
And
people.
equipment. So just
it would say, at this battle, there were 4,573 soldiers.
But that's historical information. That's not something making up by the game
No,
designer.
no, that's what I'm getting at.
Right.
But this is how you pick your army. This is how you pick your force.
Well, you pick a...
You're not picking it. You're actually getting
pick-
assigned it.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because you can, as a historical gamer, you can only play... Well, only. But generally they play actual battles with the actual force that was there.
See, I was coming to this thinking, oh, well, I'll have some Union regular troopers.
That's Flames of War, though.
Right. I'll have some...
That's maybe why they
don't
hate
like
Flames of War.
That's what I'm going to get to.
Yeah.
I was expecting to be able to pick some elite units, right? Maybe they're veterans. I was expecting to have a choice between maybe, I don't know, two
Put
cannons.
a couple cannons back there.
Yeah, maybe one shoots grape shot, one shoots a long shot like in Fantasy Warhammer. No. It was stats of real men, real cavalry, real artillery, divided by some sort of ratio that then equals one stand of guys. So picture stand of guys with 3 guys on it.
Yeah.
At this level that we were playing was battalion size.
Right.
And so those 3 stands of guys were a regiment, which stand for about 360 men.
Okay.
Wow.
And you had a whole stand of them, which was your battalion. I think I got
where
that
do the
right.
mechanics
I don't think... No.
I might have it
They're
backwards.
battalions in regiments.
Okay, so I might have it backwards.
Yeah, so each
Yep.
stand is a battalion, and a bunch of battalions make up a regiment.
I think that's backwards, but I could be wrong. They gave me a little sheet. I meant to bring it with me, and I forgot.
But where do the
I'm
mechanics...
just telling you how it is today.
Where do the mechanics
Yeah, I
come
think
in?
it's different than how it is
Okay,
today.
that's quite possible.
Well, where do the mechanics come in, though? So
All right.
So the rule book hasn't done anything yet.
Brigade.
Well, it does.
The rule book has
Brigade.
just said...
Brigade.
Regiments in brigade.
That's what it is. That's what it is, Craig.
Yeah.
This was brigade level.
You think it's brigade?
It was that's how you picked your force.
Okay.
So that's the first thing. That's the rules.
And again, you're not picking your force.
You're picking your battle.
Being told...
Yes.
You've got 4,000 guys, and if you're going to play 6mm, that equals this many states.
So you're picking basically your battle and your side.
Correct.
I want to play the Battle of Gettysburg, and I want to be on Union.
Right. I'm saying picking your force like a hobby gamer would expect.
Right.
That was a big distinction for me.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then, but I still haven't figured out where the rule book comes in.
I'm going to tell you.
Okay, so what does it do?
They then actually tell you what millimeter you're playing. An inch will equal so many yards.
Okay.
So that's even somewhat historically accurate.
Yeah.
Right.
But basically, your troopers
Is
moved.
your deployment generally historically accurate?
Yes.
So you can't really deploy however you want. You got to deploy.
Well, we did.
Well, yeah,
we
you
just
could,
put the
I
guys
guess.
down.
Yeah, okay.
Okay. So we played a mission where the Union had to get off the edge of the table, like along a road, and the Confederates had to stop them.
Right.
Now this part was neat. The moving's the same. You take your tape measure; they can move 6 inches.
Yeah.
Right.
Whatever. Yep.
But this part was neat. And other games do this. Each unit that you would pick, which would be a brigade, each brigade that you picked, you had to roll a die because they might not move or do what you think they would do due to the fog of war. That was pretty neat.
Yeah.
And then in the rule book, there were factors that would affect that. Not weather or mud, but things which would occur later in the game. If they were shot at, if they lost casualties, basically morale-esque type of factors. A lot like Epic.
Well, I've
actually.
noticed that command and control issues or game mechanics are much more prevalent in historical games.
Yes.
Because historically, many battles were won and lost because troops didn't follow orders.
And that was fun to play so to speak. That was really pretty cool. Other than that, it shoots like you'd think. There's a range. You do that. There's a modifier. Oh, they don't do weapon skill versus ballistic skill. Again, there's a chart versus your morale status. Yeah. Some other modifiers. I can't remember what they are off the top of my head, but other modifiers to hit. And then, just like in Epic, when you would shoot, you could just shoot. But apparently, my historical friends told me it wasn't really about shooting. It was about shooting until you could get into hand-to-hand back then, right. Even though rifles were pretty accurate. And you would get into hand-to-hand, and it was really cool. There would be offensive fire as you'd be getting into hand-to-hand, and they'd have a chance for defensive fire in your same phase.
Right, like Flames of War does.
Yes. Yeah. So a lot of comments. A lot of things that were in common than like Flames of War and that I learned from Epic. So that part was cool. And you would wheel and have march maneuvers just like Warhammer Fantasy, where it would cost you so many movement points to move to the side or to turn around or to change formation or things like that. So that's how the rules worked. That's how the deployment worked. And here's something I learned that really pointed out for me why historical gamers don't like Flames of War. Or so I hear that they don't. Okay, we had guys.
They're always making fun of it.
Yeah.
Those guys.
Yeah.
They'll walk, no matter what game you're playing, they'll walk up to the table and go, is this that Monster Apocalypse Flames of War game?
Yeah. Well, I think what they're doing is they're not themselves making fun of
they're
it.
Making fun of people who would do that.
Yes, because when they go to their Historicons and things like that.
They do that all the time. Yeah, Richard does it to actually upset actual historical gamers. He'll walk up to somebody who's reenacting, for a 1-to-1 ratio, the Battle of Waterloo, and he'll be like, oh, cool, is that Flames of War game?
Yeah. They'll get incensed.
And they'll chase him out of the hall.
Yeah, Richard is kind of like
Richard is an instigator.
He likes to push the button.
Yeah, he does.
Yeah. I can't remember what I was blathering about.
Well, you were talking about the why they don't like Flames of War.
Oh, the cavalry.
Yeah.
This is what the light bulb went off in my head. So they had guys on horses, and I was like, oh, this is really cool. They're going to run in and make a saber charge and, skewer me and shoot me with a revolver? And they're like, yeah, no. And I'm like, oh, why not? They're like, well, that's not how cavalry worked in the American Civil War. I'm like, it didn't? They're like, nah. Basically, cavalry works is they're kind of lame. They're going to be on horses, they're going to run up, then they're going to dismount, and they become foot soldiers. And I was like, well, why? Why won't they run and skewer me with the sabers? They're like, actually, they got rid of their sabers, halfway through the war because the rifles would shoot the guys right off their horses. I'm like, what are you talking about? Well, rifles were that good. They could shoot a good 300, 400 yards and knock a cavalry guy. There'd be no charge. Mm-hmm. And I was like, oh. And that was an example to me of the history coming in over game mechanics of what might be cool or fun to come in. And so me coming at it from a Flames of War hobby game perspective, which is, I just want to build this cool force.
You get a lot of cavalry in Flames of War?
Tanks.
Tanks for Modern Cav.
Modern Cav.
I get it, but tanks don't. Never mind. Okay.
Yeah. So
I know what Cav is in Modern War, but tanks though.
Yeah.
Or Jeeps, maybe.
Jeeps, yeah. No, what dinged it off for me was, these cavalry aren't going to do something that would be fun in a game.
Right. I get it.
Yeah, they're going to do.
But I would say more. That's more like fantasy. Warhammer
or fantasy. Sure.
Sure.
Yeah.
But then they are not getting shot at with rifles, so.
Right.
I guess.
Sometimes playing Empire.
Sometimes, yeah.
But never mind. I know that somewhere out there in Radioland is somebody going, Craig, I get it, man.
I'm right there with you, Craig.
I get it, man. Who's using these, and Flames of War doesn't use horses, and these guys got off their horses because you'd get shot off your horse if you were on your horse.
There are some horses.
There are lots of horses. Limbering the tank guns, right, Russ?
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah. The Russians had them, too.
Okay.
We're messing with Craig now. So it sounds to me like the reason Flames of War, maybe one of the reasons Flames of War was so successful is that it merged a lot of the elements of the historical gamer.
Yes.
And then said, but wouldn't it be great if you could do the things you can do in the classic war games like that GW and Privateer produced? I want to be able to put together an army out of the blue from all this historical stuff, but it's not necessarily going to be historically accurate.
Yes. And what's hilarious about that comment is I didn't understand what people would say when they're saying Flames of War is not a history game. I'm like, huh? I'm reading and learning all sorts of cool stuff. But I think, correct me if I'm wrong, what they mean is if I'm in Flames of War and I build a ranger company and the book allows me to take a parachute mortar platoon, right? Some historical guy might be like, yeah, no, ranger companies had no access to that at all. That'd be from a different division.
But more than that.
I think it's more like the historical guy would be like, well, yeah, but where are you fighting in what month of what year?
Okay.
Right. And in that month of that year, there wasn't a formation just like that fighting in that particular arena.
Yes.
And Flames of War gives a nod to that because you can pick early war, mid war, and late war.
Right.
But it still doesn't do location.
Yeah.
Like Flames of War says, like, okay, if you're playing you can play in the African theater.
Yeah.
Yes.
And you can choose from all this stuff. But there's no, well, in this city and that fight, on this
like
date.
Alamein.
You would not have, Pat would not have, or Rommel or whoever would not have had that many tanks.
Yeah, because they were out of fuel in real life and being
your
resupplied.
ratio of tanks to troop transports is incorrect for that day and time.
Correct.
That's what it is.
That's right.
Right.
That's right.
It puts that army building aspect back in.
Yes.
Like a
That's
war
what makes
game.
it fun, though. If you
than-
like, not fun. It just makes it different, I should say. Because if you like that kind of thing, and it sounds like the majority of gamers, the vast majority, the larger group of gamers,
or at least
like to
our
build their
audience,
own
we
stuff.
presume.
Well,
you
you'd
say
the
though.
vocal segment of the gaming population, because who knows how many historical gamers are out there because they don't have that unified.
Well,
voice.
I don't think also that they have a convention as big as some of the other conventions.
Historicon is huge.
How huge though? Is it Gen Con huge?
No, it's not.
No, it's not Gen Con.
But Gen Con isn't just war.
Probably.
I would say
fair.
not even half
That's
of Gen Con is wargaming.
Is it Games Day huge?
Yeah, I think so.
I don't know.
Because Games Day is
The way
one
it
company
used to be.
in one genre. Yeah, see, that's what I mean. I think that's what I'm saying. Though, if you took Games Day and added all the other kind of miniature war games together,
or Adepticon,
I think you would dwarf a historical. Maybe that's just my opinion.
But see, but again, that problem is that they don't have a unified rule set.
Yeah,
that they're
that's
using.
it.
So
Yes.
I mean,
because it's
I
third.
agree.
It's third on their list.
Right.
Their number one thing is history. So, like,
Yeah.
if they went to a history teachers convention,
Right, they're like one step away from the historical reenactment groups.
Yeah.
That's what I know. I felt like I was reenacting a Civil War battle with miniatures, which was a different kind of fun that I was used to in Flames of War fun.
Yeah.
If you're looking for a balanced game and lots of action in stuff, at least for that time period, it wasn't that. It was march up, get into hand-to-hand.
Well, that's interesting.
If you're looking for like kind of reenactment and an excuse to dust off some history books and to kind of maybe look and say, hey, what would a New Hampshire Civil War regiment be comprised of? And
so did you enjoy the game? Would you play it again?
I did. I would play it again. As a matter of fact, I went ahead and I ordered not Fire and Fury, but the guns at Gettysburg, because I wanted to find a Civil War game that I could do with the 28 millimeter. Because I'm playing Flames of War, which is my 15 millimeter scale game.
So that you think they break down to even a smaller area on the battlefield?
Yeah,
kind of thing?
and there's a little bit of skepticism of that Civil War. How is it going to be fun at the regiment level versus the battalion level?
No.
Yeah,
brigade level. Excuse me, the brigade level. And I think they're probably right, but I'm going to. According to the web, the guns at Gettysburg
these are the historical guys that are suspicious,
and the forums.
Oh, really?
The forums are like Civil War was fought at brigade level, not really at.
There weren't company formations that were. Yeah.
It's not really a regiment thing. But then again, one of the historical guys is actually that's true. It's not true. There's tons of smaller battles. They just don't make the history books.
Right.
So I'm curious to see if this 28 millimeter game. I ordered some figures. Oh, let's talk about that. So I'm going to go back. If you're like me, and you've always had an interest...
Nobody's like you.
Yeah, no one is like me. I got a good compliment from work today because no one's like me. But anyway,
that's why it's called Hollywood.
No, it's not a bad thing. No,
you think this is valued?
Yeah.
That's why you're on the show?
I often say I'm an enigma wrapped in an enigma.
Yeah, you're an enigma wrapped in a burrito.
I think that was the Soviet Union.
I prefer...
I think it was wrapped in a mystery.
I prefer fajitas.
Yeah.
Burritos are good, though.
I'm going to look at your boat again.
Let's
so what
see.
are you going to say about buying miniatures?
If you're like me, and you've always had you're a hobby miniature gamer, but you've always had an interest in historical games, and you're not playing Flames of War, start there.
Yeah.
I think Flames of War is the gateway miniature game to historical gaming.
Really?
Yes.
Yeah.
I do. And then...
What about War Machine being the gateway game because it's got tricorder hats?
No.
No,
that's ridiculous.
That's right out there.
No, and
nice try though, PP fanboy.
That's one of the reasons I like it because it's got tricorder. I always thought tricorder hats were cool.
Yeah, no, they are cool. Yeah.
So you're going to be playing 28 millimeter.
Yep. Well, no one's agreed to play with me. By the way,
but don't they? Aren't they? It sounds to me like it would be like a sort of a much more limited version of Warhammer Fantasy.
I think you're right.
You're all brigaded up. You're all side by side. You're marching towards each other. Yeah. Except you're both going to play Empire, and you're both going to be using handgunners only.
Right.
You could
try that out.
You could exactly be right. So I don't know because I haven't gotten the rule book yet or tested it. Here's my theory of why I went this direction.
Yeah.
I've always wanted to do it. So the worst is all I ordered was 10 guys, a cannon, and something else.
Mm-hmm.
I'll make a Civil War diorama, and I've got it to have as a showpiece.
Yep.
I got a rule book. Fun to read
now,
that.
do you remember when you were a kid and you first saw this thing, what scale it was? Or could you make a guess? Was it 20?
I think it was 28 millimeter.
Really?
Really? I don't think it was that big.
I do.
Back then,
here's why.
Because they were all smaller.
They were all tiny back then, I thought.
Well, it definitely wasn't 15
I
millimeter.
bet it was 20.
Okay, it might have been 20.
Yeah,
it was probably 20.
Between.
Because here's why. The table, I just remember this distinctly, was probably something like 6x6.
Yeah.
Or 8x8. It wasn't.
How do you reach the middle?
Oh, it's
not a game table, was it? It was just a diorama.
It was a diorama, but the storekeeper said they play a game on it.
Oh, I didn't know.
But it was set up like a diorama. It had molded hills, into the table, like an architect would do.
Architect?
And I remember that. I don't know. I remember not having to.
Term?
Of course, I was smaller then, but I remember not having to peer down at the miniatures. From a while away, you could see they were
smaller.
I know. Remember when you were little, though? Everything was bigger?
Everything seemed bigger. So
Remember?
this table was probably 4x4.
Probably.
And the
it was
guys
probably
were
6
millimeter.
Yeah, probably. And I was really small, man, back when I was 12. Do you know how much I weighed when I was 12?
No, I don't.
69
pounds.
pounds.
I'm going to find out, though. Wow. 69. Wow, that is small.
You know how I know that?
How do you know that?
Because I used to wrestle. 7th and 8th grade wrestling. And the weight limit was 90 pounds. I used to get flattened every freaking time.
Where's this bullet point?
Yeah, I don't see it in there. So what else? What's your...
Now, see, okay, but I'm going to go with something else because something that you and I have talked about, Raef. You like these smaller sizes because, as you say, they open the battlefield up.
Yes.
And that's your big problem with 40K, which is totally understandable that you've got these high-tech, futuristic weapons, but you're playing on this tiny little field where the basilisk would be 20 tables away in real life or whatever.
Right.
And it sounds to me like you're almost voluntarily, having discovered that is your bugaboo with this particular, you've like relinquished it now, which is odd to me.
Partially. I think Warhammer Fantasy Battles works. Because the range of those weapons are so limited.
Right.
It's same for Civil War. Although I guess I didn't know this, but I thought
the cannons are very long range though.
Well, and the rifles. I thought they shot musket balls that barely went anywhere. They're like, oh no, man.
No, that's when the rifle barrels come around and the bullets are shaped. That's what. You ever been to Gettysburg? Did you get the bullets from Gettysburg? They're not round.
I know.
They're bullet shaped.
I misremembered. And I guess they could shoot 300, 400 yards accurately.
You're getting your Revolution and your Civil War mixed up a lot.
It's me. It's Hollywood. But you're right. So this is a total test subject.
Yeah.
That's why I didn't buy a whole army of 28 millimeter.
Right. Because I know when we were playing Epic, you were saying that it just makes it feel like you're playing on a whole world all of a sudden.
Yeah.
You've got all these deployment choices and everything. And the same thing with Flames of War on a slightly smaller level with the 15 millimeter.
And that's why I didn't buy American Civil War 15 millimeters. Who am I going to play with? Right. So, I mean, I guess I could play with the...
But it sounds like you're bucking all conventions and established tradition by going to 28.
Historicals won't play it, and non-historicals aren't going to play it.
I mean, these guys, doesn't Bob have 20 armies of every era?
Yep.
And
he has 28 millimeter, and so
you got to try to convince those guys to play more.
They will, and they'll try it at me at 28 millimeter. The reason is I'm following my own bullet points. I'm not doing this for the gaming part.
You're doing it for the fun.
I'm doing it for the historical research to scratch my 12-year-old itch. Comes out always wrong when I say that, but
especially 12. You have cream for 12-year-old itch.
Yeah,
it's going to go that long.
I think you're supposed to go to a doctor after
6 months.
Yeah.
12 years
doing it for that. I figure no one's going to play me ever except the historical guys once.
Right.
If I play twice. That's why I'm not buying a whole army.
Yeah.
Unless these Guns at Gettysburg game is the greatest thing since sliced bread, and the historical guys are like, this works awesome, and then I have opponents.
I'm skeptical, but, hey.
I am too.
No, it's cool you tried this out, though. I think it's neat to see, to get insight into it.
And I think all of us have sort of maybe a mild sense of awe towards the history game.
Oh, yeah. I'm always blown away when you go to the conventions and they have it totally set up, and it's this huge... giant U-shaped table that's just got this epic amount of stuff
huge amount.
And I totally respect the amount of hobby time that goes into it, and the research and the playing of the game looks like fun if that's your thing. I mean, it's definitely cool.
No, I think this is
that reminds me
as kind of a window into that world that we're all kind of like, wow, that's one step beyond where we are.
That's the second reason why I went 28 millimeter. is Rob said that they fall into that category of they set up these beautiful 15mm brigade level matches, or even what's higher than a brigade, an army, maybe army scale, right? They play 2 turns. Takes 2 hours to play 2 turns.
That's
right?
the thing I discovered.
I didn't want that. If I'm going to play and have an opponent to play, or I'm going to take your idea, Russ, and maybe get into it, say this is a great rule set, I'll paint a Confederate force, and maybe you guys will play for one time.
I think it'd be fun to see if Battlefront Miniatures would venture into other historical eras.
I hope they do.
Well, I thought that was like their plan
Flames of
years
War
ago.
model in other, game models.
That'd be so
eras.
cool. Well, here's the last thing I want to say on the rule set is, and I might get this wrong, Warhammer Ancients.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
Okay. Is coming. There is an American Civil War version of it. It's not the Ancients. It's
No, but doesn't Ancients have the same problem Flames of War does, in that you basically build your army, there's point values.
Yes.
Like I can take Carthage against Rome and pick whatever the hell I want. I can go heavy elephant, I go no elephant. I can
That's appealing to me.
Well, me too, but isn't the historicals like,
oh yeah, but this is why I picked 28mm. The ACW version of Warhammer Ancients. It's not Warhammer Ancients. It's just okay. But they're rebooting it, so people can write in and go, Raef, they have that already. My historical guys tell me, nope, they're rebooting it. It's supposed to come out. I don't know when. That's going to be 28mm. So I'm thinking if it's like Warhammer Fantasy, 28mm Civil War. That was another reason why I went that route.
I get it.
So that's it. So I'm excited. I'm excited to try something brand new.
Cool.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, you do have you have me thinking again. I've always wanted to play a lot more Battles of the Romans and Spartans and those kind of people.
Yeah.
So now you've got me thinking about some of your Move game products I have to check out.
Well, see, what's neat about that is apparently, again, a lot.
Your Move Games is a set of products. Right now it's in the fantasy genre.
Oh.
That are cards.
I've been there to their store in Cape Cod.
Yes.
Yeah. They're going into the historical.
They're coming out with a new product range. Well, here's the thing. So they have this.
It's called Battleground.
Battleground, right?
Yep.
And it's a. This is totally off topic, but I think our listeners might.
No, I'm done.
If it's going into historical.
Well, here's how it starts. So right now, it's a fantasy deck. Cards.
I think I've heard you talk
about
this.
But you put them flat on the table, and it's like a top-down view of a unit.
Yeah.
So one card on the table is like a unit of cavalry, and one card on the table is like a unit of
lizardmen. It's like playing Warhammer Fantasy, but you don't have to do the models.
And the wheel, and there's little, and you can use grease pencils on them or whatever. Or, grease pencils, I did it again. Dry erase markers to mark the damage on the unit. There's rules, and they wheel, and they move, and you fight each other. And there's other cards for terrain and a whole campaign system that's remarkably like the Descent one, by the way, the little card things. And they have orcs and elves and dragons and a monster pack and all these other things, right? Well, they're coming out now with historical armies like Rome and Carthage and Sparta, but they're also compatible with the fantasy ones. So you can have orcs invade Rome, or you can have other things happen. So that sounds
and that's
interesting.
why we're gamers,
right?
Not
that's why historical,
right. Hobby gamers.
Right. I want to go out and I want to see some Carthaginian elephants just run over a bunch of elves.
Elves would be
squish them. That's always fun.
Well, that's what, I mean, to kind of segue back, that's what the historical gamers were kind of saying to me. They're like, Raef, you've really picked the American Civil War is great, but it has these limitations. If you go back in time, the cavalry will work the way it'll work. You'll have chariots, you'll have foot soldiers, maybe pikemen, maybe small arms fire, a broader range. Because I was talking to Dave about it. He has no interest in Civil War, but he does back for that time period.
Yeah.
Sounds cool.
So want to send them all spinning? Why not just play Warhammer Fantasy? Chariots and spearmen.
Well, that's what Warhammer Ancients is, right?
No, yeah.
Warhammer Ancients is fantasy, but they've got but your army books are all the historical things, and they have miniatures out there, really beautiful.
Mm-hmm. Perry's mostly.
Yeah, well, in fact, back when I owned the store, we used to look at that, and we had some customers that were really into it, and I was this far from getting into that, because I do like the Ancients historical stuff. I'm not so much American history and World War II stuff, but the old stuff's really interesting.
Yeah. Speaking of that, here's my last tidbit if anybody's interested to look at this stuff up. Apparently, the place to go if you're a historical war miniature enthusiast is www.theminiaturespage.com.
Yes.
Okay. Now, when you get there, it's going to be, this is where you need your master's degree in historical miniature wargaming, but I'm going to help you. When you get there, there's going to be this plethora of all this interesting stuff. You got to dial down looking for menus on the side that'll get you to the sculptors.
Yeah.
Then when you get to the sculptors, there'll be this block of alphabet. You pick P for the Perry Brothers. You pick S for Sash and Slaver. Those are the models I bought. And under that, you'll see, 15 S's of companies starting with S that make Napoleonics, American Civil War, and that's how you can navigate.
So that's the other thing, too, is like it's not like this miniature range by this company goes with this rule set.
Right.
It's like, pick your models. It's like almost like a la carte. Pick your models, pick your rules.
Yes.
Pick your century, pick your decade, pick your rule set,
pick your size,
models,
pick your scale.
pick your scale.
Pick your scale.
But the Perry brothers, Old Glory, and Sash and Saber are the ones I looked at for Civil War, 28 millimeter. Yeah. Yep. Oh, incredibly a lot more affordable. Like I bought 10. Oh yeah, I bought.
Oh yeah, I've heard it's much more.
Well, I've noticed the Perry Brothers plastic boxes are like 30 or 40 models for $25 or so.
There you go.
Well, that's the other thing. I guess plastics are much more accessible for smaller companies now.
Right.
I heard this on This Week in Wargaming. I mentioned a couple times. So that these smaller companies like the Perry Brothers can produce plastics that look really great.
Yep.
So they're very
if you've
affordable.
got the Perrys doing your masters, then they're gonna look pretty
it's going to
damn
look good no matter what.
Yeah. So maybe that's what keeps the cost down for them, is they don't have to worry about producing all these other things. I don't know.
Maybe.
You know? Yeah. So it's a lot more affordable.
It's interesting.
Yeah. So that's what I learned.
It's
cool. Well, that was very interesting.
Strange and dark world, though.
It is.
So you don't want to venture there alone, so be thankful that Hollywood is by your side.
HD's got your back.
That's right. Don't go to Historicon by yourself.
Today's edition of Jever Noticed is brought to you by Jay, who'd like to say thank you all for the great insights you've given, both in the gaming world and out of it. Well, thank you, Jay, and we'll keep doing this as long as you guys can stand to keep listening. Did you ever notice that so many of us gamers are what we like to call completists? I'm sure in the world of psychiatry they have other words. Obsessive-compulsive disorder comes to mind as just one category this behavior could fall into. But in the interest of self-esteem preservation, we generally refer to ourselves as completists. So let's go with that for now, shall we? Now, for those of you who've been living under an overpass for a while and might be staring at your speakers now, head cocked to one side as my dogs often do after I've told them a particularly good joke, and wondering, what's a completist? Let me not keep you in suspense any longer. A completist is any of those poor souls who cannot collect just enough of anything. In fact, for most of us who suffer from this malady, there's no such thing as just enough of anything. Let me explain. If you are going to play a new game, let's say, and you need to collect an army for that game, most people would look at the unit options, put together a few combos they liked for whatever reason, and collect those. After time, they might add some units. They might buy a new model or squad or vehicle, depending on where the weaknesses of their new army makeup lies, but primarily, they'll be building upon the original ground plan. Now, a completist might start there, and indeed live for a while blissfully assuming that he's just like everyone else, but soon he'll find himself buying and adding other units, other characters and vehicles and such that he doesn't really need. You might not even know why he's doing it. He just feels compelled to make these new purchases, paint up these models, and often the only justification he can give to anyone is that he's doing it just in case. Just in case he needs those gun mages. Well, that example only really works before the unit attachments, etc., of course. Or just in case he needs the unit of Kroot, or whatever the assumed useless unit of the week is according to everyone else. But the completist doesn't see things that way. The completist, you see, sees that there are options available to his army, or his faction, or his race that he doesn't have. And this begins an itch in the back of his mind that grows and grows and grows until he finds himself forced by his own inner demons to buy units that deep down inside he doubts he'll ever use. But hey, they're there, right? I mean, if some guy can take months off of work to climb the highest mountain in the world, risking life and limb, putting everything he is and everything he ever will be on the line because it's there, then I'm way ahead of the game if all I'm doing is spending some extra cash and some time at my painting table, right? Coincidentally, and for a future edition, this touches upon the I could have a worse hobby justification of hobby cash spending, but I digress. So where does this come from? Why are so many of us completists? while so many others are perfectly happy to collect what is needed to play the game and move on, stuck on building more and more acquisitions. Well, for me, the first signs were early in life. It was all about the Battlestar Galactica action toys. And yes, we're talking old school here, when Starbuck was a guy and the producers constantly confused Greek and Egyptian themes. My parents have always been great. We didn't have a lot of money growing up, but they always made sure we had the toys we really wanted, which was great, except for one thing. To my parents, you only needed one of each thing, so I'd get one Viper, one Raider, one Colonial Lander, you know the deal. Problem? You can't just have Starbuck out there by himself battling a single Raider day after day. He needs Apollo by his side, and maybe even Boomer. The Lander, of course, I could probably do without. I remember what a huge concession it was for my parents when they bought me my second Cylon Raider and Viper. Now I could have flight deck scenes, real dogfights, a whole range of new possibilities opening up before me, and the curse of the completist was laid upon me for the rest of my life. With tabletop wargames, it's bad enough. Never mind the fact that due to the current gaming environment, I have well over 10 full armies that haven't seen the light of day in years. Within those armies, I probably have scores of units and characters that have never seen the tabletop. I've spent hundreds of dollars on them, and hours upon hours upon hours painting and prepping them. And for what? Just because they're there. Now, this affliction was bad enough, but with the perfect storm of the collectible miniature game and eBay, things are now just plain out of hand. This next step in the development of my curse was the WizKids Pirates game. Everyone liked them, they were fun and quick, but they were collectible. I hate collectible. My luck with dice is beaten only by my luck with collectible miniatures purchases. If I played by the everyone buys one booster at a time together rule, I'd be crushed, even more often than I am now with regular games. So I looked around for what I came to know were called singles, meaning you could buy or bid on just the pieces that you want. You know, the way the entire rest of the hobby world works. Unfortunately for me, once the lid on that Pandora's box was opened, I was pretty much done. I spent hundreds of dollars collecting ships that never even got punched out. Hours upon hours on eBay waiting for the perfect deal. I had spreadsheets all over the place tracking what I wanted, what I'd bid on, what I had, what I didn't have, didn't really need, but might want in the future. By the time I was done, that's right, Russ and the gang had moved on to a new game. The same thing happened again with Star Wars Starship Battles, and then with Star Wars Miniatures, and then it started with Axis and Allies War at Sea, but I stopped myself, thinking maybe it was time I learned a little bit from the past. But then, with Monsterpocalypse and 3 ridiculously bad booster pulls in a row, I started to do it again. And so now I say to you, my fellow completist, put the mouse down. Step away from the shelves of pretty shiny product, the auctions of things you'd love to have for reasons even you can't convey. Go outside. Let's do it all together. Go play with your children, or your pets, or your friends. Go paint models you've already got. Go organize the things you own if that'll make you feel better. But let's all try to make 2009 the year we beat completism together, okay? Only working together. All of us. Everyone who could. Everybody all together, we can, maybe I should go make a spreadsheet to track how many of us there are and where we can get more of us. And then when we're all together, then we can beat this. Does eBay have a forum maybe where we can work, like get the word out? Maybe I should go check that out. Okay, thanks for listening and good night.
Achievement unlocked! You've made it to the end of another D6 Generation episode, the podcast whose humor has universally been acclaimed as not too horrible. Please let us know what you thought of the show by either emailing us at info@the d6generation.com or by posting in our official D6G episode thread at the top of the DACA discussions forum on DACA.com. If for some inexplicable reason you actually enjoyed this show, you can help others find out about it by leaving positive reviews on iTunes. See you in 2 weeks. Thanks for listening. and happy gaming.
The theme from When Wives Attack comes from the soundtrack of The Last Night on Earth, the zombie game, courtesy of Flying Frog Productions, and is a composition of Mary Beth Magalanes.